Welcome to tonight's HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. I'm Morton Falls. Joining me, Lonnie Thibodaux and Hillary Domingue. Lonnie, a big game tonight. The Thibodaux Tigers, the Baker Buffaloes. Could it be sweet revenge for the Tigers tonight?
Well, it could be. As we have said all week, this is, of course, the only team that defeated Thibodaux last year in a wild and woolly finish in Baker. But as you talk to a lot of people here, big Thibodaux followers, they will tell you that loss is probably what won the state championship for Thibodaux. They really pulled it together after that game and really played good football the rest of the way through. So, in a sense, yes, it is revenge. But if you're looking at Baker's point of view, they could say, hey, we beat the state champions last year. So maybe that may give them some encouragement and some incentive tonight to say, hey, maybe we can do it again. Undoubtedly, two of the finer 5A teams in the state of Louisiana, no doubt.
What does Thibodaux have to do tonight? What do they have to establish early in the game in order to beat a good Baker ball club?
Well, Martin, it's hard to determine if Baker is as good as they were last year, but a lot of people are saying, hey, Thibodaux may not be as good as they were last year. It's still too early to be able to tell. I think Thibodaux, what they're going to have to do is they don't have as much speed, team speed, as they did last year. Defensively last year, they lost Sanchez and Randall Carter, the district MVP. They lost a lot of good faces on defense, but a tremendous offensive line. Jamie Rodrigue, the young quarterback, is doing a good job. The running backs are looking good. I think if Thibodaux puts it together and stays away from injuries, and I know Ivory Reed is a key concern right now with a dislocated elbow, although he probably will play. If they stay away from injuries and execute like they did last week against Plaquemine, keeping in mind Baker's a much better team than Plaquemine, I think they'll do okay tonight.
All right, joining me now, Hillary Domingue. Hillary, you out there prior to the game looking over Baker's ball club. They got some big boys out there.
Oh, we were noticing these guys have a tremendous amount of size. Their defensive front five averages 246. That's huge for a high school team. Coach Burnett said that's, in all of his years, that's the biggest line he can remember. And you have to remember, he coached 7 years at John Curtis in New Orleans, so he's seen a lot of quality ball players. Of course, Thibodaux have to be concerned with Chris Beverly, number 30 for Baker. He's the one who caught the big touchdown pass in the last 29 seconds to beat him last year. More than likely, he's going to line up a tailback tonight. Mark Brown, a transfer, is going to be starting at quarterback for Baker. They hope that he can get the job done. If not, they'll see Beverly at quarterback running the veer.
Now, of course, we came into the Thibodaux Stadium over here. Don Schwab is with us. He'll be doing color tonight. And everybody was screaming, hey, the living legend, Don Schwab is with us. Hillary, I know you were impressed. I was. Lonnie, you had to be. The living legend back in the booth here.
The galloping ghost is back at Thibodaux, the legend.
That's right. Lonnie, your comment.
Concerning Schwab?
Oh, yeah.
I have none. Thank you.
Well, Don Schwab, we'll see you a little bit later after the game. Hillary will join us for sideline reports during the game. Of course, I'll have a halftime interview, and Lonnie will be doing play-by-play. So, Thibodaux Tigers and the Baker Buffaloes. We'll be right back for our HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week.
And welcome back to Tiger Stadium. It's pretty much a full moon, at least it was last night, I believe, and a packed house, at least here on the home side tonight at Tiger Stadium. I'm Lonnie Thibodaux along with Don Schwab on the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And Coach Schwab, this is a big game, and before the game we talked about the revenge factor. You coached for many, many years. How much does a coach really try to play up that revenge factor in a game like this?
I'll tell you what, in a game of this magnitude, Lonnie, this early in the year, I don't think that has any bearing on it at all. The kids remember the game, as far as the outcome of it, because it was such a devastating loss to them in the last, 29 seconds of the game. But I don't think that's going to have a factor. It's two teams that's almost mirroring each other. Both of them run multiple sets offensively. Both of these football teams are well coached. And Baker has a lot of question marks. Speaking with Coach Thomas before the game and Coach Joe Mooks, who's the offensive coordinator, they have a lot of question marks, but they do have some talented people, just like Thibodaux has, Lonnie.
Okay, back deep for Baker will be Ivory Leachman, Chris Beverly, and Torrey Carter. And Chris Beverly, who's number 30, is the man you really want to keep your eye on. He is at least the offensive star, the speed on this team, and he's the young man that caught the touchdown pass last year against Thibodaux to win the game. Eric Alamon with the kickoff. It's indeed going to go down to Chris Beverly at about his own 11-yard line. He's at the 15, the 20. He's got some running room, and he trips down at about the 27. So Baker will play it 1st and 10 from that point. On the stop was Wendell Broomfield. for the Thibodaux High Tigers. Now, Coach, you talked to Coach Thomas and Coach Mook over at Baker. They're going to start Beverly. Well, take it back. They're going to start Mark Brown at quarterback.
No, he told me before the game, they were going to go with Mark Brown, a transfer kid from Central High School that was ineligible up until this week. He said there's no use waiting until the second quarter. He said you just soon go with him from the very beginning. Okay,
he's got Chris Beverly in the backfield as well as Emmanuel Hickman, number 46. Already flags on the play. Very hot, humid night here at Tiger Stadium. Right before the game, they introduced all the Thibodaux seniors. I believe there's 34 of them this year, if you can believe it. And I guess as a coach, and you can see that one was whistled against Thibodaux, what does it mean for a team to win a state championship and come back the next year and return 34 seniors?
Well, it's good and bad, Lonnie, because, you got a lot of experience coming back, but plus the fact that you got to worry about replacing those 30 or somewhat next year. But, winning a state championship, Lonnie, everybody's going to be gunning for Thibodaux, but, it has a snowball effect for this high school. These kids are excited about it. They know they've been there before, and they're looking forward to getting back.
Okay, here we go. It's actually 1st and 5 now for Baker. Mark Brown at quarterback. Hand off to Chris Beverly up the middle, and he works his way just beyond the 35-yard line to about the 36. And on the stop for Thibodaux, number 76, Brian Reef. Also, I believe Gerald Thibodaux, number 9, may have got in on the tackle as well. And go ahead, Coach. Sorry.
I had a little mix-up in the Thibodaux defense that time. Thibodaux's going to be an odd man front, what we call a 50 defense, basically all night, Lonnie. And they had looks like the defensive end was lined up on the wrong side. Our eagle-eyed spotter, Gene Gano, said he's going to be short, Lonnie.
And he is usually correct. And he is correct again, sir.
Once again. He's batting about .999.
He's unbelievable, but does not have 3,000 career hits like Robin Yount.
No.
But his son is one of the best Babe Ruth, and probably the best Babe Ruth baseball coach in the entire country, would you say?
Oh, yes. Very, very much so.
At least he's 2-0 in the World Series. Okay, here we go. It'll be second down now and about a yard to go for the Baker Buffaloes. Mark Brown, the transfer, the first time he ever takes a snap as a Baker quarterback. And the handoff to the big fullback, Emmanuel Hickman. Boy, is he a load, and he ran right over Gerald Thibodaux and works his way down to about the 46-yard line. Also in on the stop, Kendrell Johnson for Thibodaux, and boy, he was a load, huh, Coach?
Big fullback, Lonnie. Saw him on the field before the game. Looks like he's about 6'1", 6'2". He goes, the program says, I think, 230. But I tell you what, I think he's on iron head to head with. It looks like he weighs about 250.
Oh, what a big kid. That's Hickman, Emmanuel Hickman. And again, the quarterback, with the eye set behind him, Mark Brown at quarterback, Hickman and Beverly. Man split each to the left and to the right. The pitch to Chris Beverly. He tripped up in the backfield, manages to keep his footing. The Thibodaux Tiger defense. And that was a good job out there by Corey Juno, tripping him up.
Also, number 29, Adam Email for Thibodaux High, getting excellent penetration. His responsibility is a pitch man, Lonnie. He was there, makes Beverly change his direction, and the pursuit from Thibodaux High's defense caught up with him.
Loss of a couple on the play. Beverly now 2 carries for 3 yards.
Lonnie, you also realize for our viewers that number 80, Ivory Reed, is not in the game for Thibodaux High School. He is a tremendous football player.
He certainly is, and although they are expecting he will play, dislocated elbow, which is a very painful situation to say the least. Chris Beverly, good cut to the right side. Look at this running ability. You would think he's Barry Sanders. He managed to elude Chris Watts out there on the near the sidelines and managed to pick up another couple yards. Eventually on the stop, though, was don't know who. We'll see.
Joe Mook was telling me before the game, Lonnie, that Beverly has the type of ability to really break the big play for him, and you can tell right there from that running ability that he has that potential.
Beverly now 3 carries for 10 yards. It's now 3rd down and 5 yards to go. Again, Hickman and Beverly in the backfield. The handoff again to Chris Beverly. This time he'll be run down after maybe 2 yards on the carry. On the stop for the Tigers, Corey Juno and Chris Watts. And so they'll have to punt it away. It'll be 4th down and about 3.
Tell you what, Lonnie, you can talk about size of Baker, but Thibodaux High is not small. 91, Orlando Thompson is 5'11", 250. And, of course, our boy Sanchez from last year, Ron Wagner, is about 280 this year. So they've got good size.
Wow. Into a punt is Kelly Walls, who is a senior for Baker. He one-hops this one. manages to get on the way. Nice punt, sailing punt inside the 10-yard line. On the return is Fred Billazon, and he'll get smashed down there just shy of the 10. On the stop for Baker, I see number 84. Don't know who that is. He's not on the roster. And number 81, Marty Broussard. And anytime you have a team visiting your stadium, you will have that problem. A few players that are not represented on the roster. So 1st and 10 now for Thibodaux from their own 10-yard line. And, Coach, we saw it last week in the Nicholls State game. Field position so important early in a big game. And already Thibodaux's way back there.
That's right. It's going to have a bearing on this game, especially this early, Lonnie. Thibodaux's backed up on about the 8-yard line.
And the pitch, lots of running room. Tremaine Johnson, he'll get out there, and he should have the first down by about a yard or so. All the stop for Baker was Mike Ramsey.
You know, Roddy Chasson, who's being offensive coordinator right now at Thibodaux High School, Lonnie, said before the game they were going to try to stretch the field and spread Baker out and try to use their speed with Tremaine Johnson. And right there, it worked to perfection. Sweep to the wide side of the field.
Already a little bit of a surprise. Thibodaux starting Terrence Hills, a junior at quarterback, not Jamie Rodri. Not sure what that's about. The pitch out there may be a gain of a yard. And, Coach, did you have any reason to believe they'd start Hills?
I had no idea, Lonnie. I had no indication. All the indications were before game that Jamie Roderick would be the starting quarterback. But I guess Coach Burnett's like Coach Lorio was. He changes right before game. That's why he's the head coach, Lonnie. That's why you and I are sitting up here calling the game.
And Coach Burnett is a good one. Again, he has coached at Boothville Venice at Riverside Academy. He's been a head coach at Bowling Green and East Ascension Academy and was a defensive coordinator at John Curtis from 82 to 88. They won 5 state championships in the 7 years he was there. Terrence Hills fakes the pitch and then gets smashed about a yard up the field by big Kevin Thomas on the stop.
Good execution on the part of Baker's defense right there, running the down the line option. He had pitch man Tremaine Johnson following, but Baker did a good job of playing the option. Conversion on the quarterback for practically no gain line.
Again, Terrence Hills at quarterback. Again, that's a little bit of a surprise to us. We were certainly expecting senior Jamie Rodri, number 5, and maybe we'll try to find out a little later what's the situation with that. Terrence Hills back there. He's running wide to the left, gets the pass upfield and complete. He was intended for Sean Cortez, number 82, and Thibodaux will have to punt it away now. And in fact, the man to do the punting will be Jamie Rodri.
Well, he had an advantage that time. Number 7, Terrence Hills, is a left-handed kid, and he's sprinting to his left and had his shoulders turned upfield, threw a good pass, just a little bit low. So kicking game, I think, Lon, is going to be very important in a game like this early.
Expected to be a tight ball game. Certainly has been. One offensive possession each way so far. Both teams have had to punt it away. Rodrigue doing the honors. Nice sailing punt down there to about the 37-yard line for Baker. Chris Beverly on the return and gets dragged down by his jersey by Joey Kramer, number 22. So Baker with the good field position, Thibodaux with the bad field position. And there's a good look at Coach Gary Burnett, actually Andrew Caluette, the basketball coach, blocking his view. But Coach Gary Burnett, a lot different than Dennis L'Oreal. Dennis was very outspoken, definitely liked us, liked the media. Gary Burnett, very low-key.
Very low-key guy, Lon. I think he learned it at JT when he was at John Curtis. That's the way them guys operate. He doesn't get overly excited. He's a very, very sound football coach, and he gets along fine with the kids.
So again, Mark Brown, the quarterback, the transfer from Central, you said, Coach?
Yes, Central High School.
Okay. Mark Brown looking way downfield. He's got a man wide open. That's Ivory Leachman, touchdown, Baker. What a play, Coach.
That's why Joe Mook said they were going to start him, because of he possesses a little bit more ability to throw the football than Chris Beverly. And you can see right there, line it is, stretch the field out. Thibodaux's in kind of a 2-deep zone. Ran the wide receiver, the outside receiver on an up route, and the safety for Thibodaux High failed to pick him up deep and put 6 points on the board early.
54 yards on the touchdown. That's Mark Brown to Ivory Leachman. In to attempt the extra point for Baker's Marty Broussard. Before we go to the break, we'll probably take another opportunity to see that play again. What a beautiful job offensively by Baker. The kick is up, and the kick is good. If we could, we'll try to take another look at that touchdown in just a moment. It's only 7:29 to go so far in the first quarter, and very quickly on their second offensive possession, the Baker Buffaloes are on the board 7-0, and a little stunned silence. And here we go. Let's watch this play.
There's a high formation with a wide receiver to the top of the screen. Oh, we lost the picture.
Okay, we'll try to get it again. We'll go ahead and keep it right here, and when we get it racked up in the truck, we'll maybe try to let you know and show you that one again.
Yeah, that's one thing that every coach fears, Lonnie, is the big play, you know, and especially in a game like this. You want to make these guys drive the ball 65, 70 yards to get on the board. Now it gives Baker a tremendous shot offensively, and it's going to really pep their defense even more up. And Thibodaux has a challenge now, and they got to just keep their chins up and come back with something positive offensively and get a drive of their own.
Well, of course, one thing we can look at, there's some certain strengths on this Tiger team. Certainly the offensive line is a strength, but one thing that, although I would not go so far as to call it a weakness, but definitely not as strong as last year, is the secondary. And sure enough, they got burned on that one.
It did, and that was a concern. I talked to Brad Villavasa, who coaches the linebackers for Thibodaux High, Lonnie. That was a concern of their whole defensive staff, was that secondary. Of course, you know they lost some good kids back there from last year, and it's hard to replace those guys that they lost from last year.
And one of the good ones you want to mention is Randall Carter. I promised Randall before the game I would talk about him. Well, Randall, I just did. That's Tremaine Johnson from his own 15. Gets out to the 25, and he's run down there just short of the 25. On the stop for Baker will be number 64, Darrell Jackson. Hillary Domang is our man on the sideline tonight. Hillary?
On the back of Thibodaux High School's football helmets this year, they have a little 55 on the back of it. That's to pay homage to Eric Andelsek, the former Thibodaux High, LSU, and Detroit Lions star. A fitting tribute to a great guy. Back to you, Lonnie.
All right, thank you, Hillary. And we'll try to get in a few moments a shot of the 55 on the back of one of those helmets and let you see what we're talking about. Of course, Eric, after this play, I'm going to talk a little bit about Eric. Jamie Rodriguez now in at quarterback, and he gets the pass out there to Billazon. Billazon makes his way close to the first down, maybe a little short. Coach, when we came into the stadium tonight, you get two overwhelming feelings. One, of course, is state championship and the pride. The other thing is the loss over Eric Andelsek. I mean, it affects everyone here. There you can see it on the back of one of the helmets.
Well, I tell you what, he was just a tremendous kid, and he meant a lot to this community, Lonnie. He was a guy that didn't let professional football or LSU days get to his head. He always came back to his roots, and everybody had a lot of respect for Eric.
He was a super guy, and truly one of the great tragedies in this area, and God knows how long, the incredible circumstances concerning his death this past summer. On the stop there, as Tremaine Johnson tries to break free, was Kevin Thomas for Baker. And Baker's size right now, Coach, could be causing a little concern for the Tigers.
They're huge up front defensively. They're front five. And Lonnie, like I said before, Thibodaux High and Baker kind of mirror each other. You know, Baker's going to be in a 50 defense with a 5 down lineman, 2 inside linebackers, and a 4 deep in the secondary. But they're going to play basic 50 football. They may slant a little bit. They may offset the nose guard, just like Thibodaux High does. They're not going to do anything fancy. They just got some big people. They're very sound technique-wise. They're well coached. So they're not going to get away from that game plan, Lonnie. They're going to stay in that straight 50.
Now, Coach, of course, you played your college football at LSU in Baton Rouge and did some coaching in the Baton Rouge area. Talk a little bit about the tradition of Baker football.
Oh, it goes back a long ways, Lonnie. Even if you go up there for a game and you see that Buffalo come out on the field, and it has a lot of tradition there, and they've really had good football programs there throughout the years.
Of course, Kevin Thomas, the head coach and athletic director there now. 3rd and about 1, the handoff to, well, the handoff to Jason Long. Take that back.
Fumble.
And sure enough, number 75 for Baker comes up with, and that's Kevin Thomas. And just like that, Thibodaux's in trouble now.
He had the first down picked up, Lonnie, but somebody from the backside reached over and grabbed the football, and you got to put pressure on both ends, and the young man dropped it on the ground. Gives the Baker, again, great field position, Lonnie, on Thibodaux High's 37-yard line.
So Thibodaux High facing adversity very early in this game, but again, this is a team who returns 34 seniors from a state championship team last year, and from adversity comes champions, and that's big Hickman, Emmanuel Hickman. He'll get maybe 2 yards on the play and some gang tackling there by Thibodaux, and sure enough, I think I saw Ivory Reed. Yeah, big number 80. Ivory Reed is in there also helping him out. Number 42, Corey Juneau. Now, Coach, you've been around a lot of injuries in all your years in football. What about a dislocated elbow? That doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
Very painful, Lonnie. I think he was released by his doctor, but the thing that you can't get over is the pain. Every time you touch it in that area, with the nerves, you're going to have some kind of pain. So I'm sure the young man is playing with a little pain.
That's why he didn't start. Brad Villavaso said they will play him as long as they can, but he's in some obvious pain. That's Hickman again on the carry. On the stop for Thibodaux High, big number 76, Brian Reith. Young man scored a 30 on his ACT. You got to like that, huh?
Oh, you got to. I tell you what, Baker, you know, they resemble Catholic High Baton Rouge, Lonnie, who we covered in the playoffs last year against Thibodaux. They multiple sets. They'll get in the wishbone. They'll get in one back. They'll run the eye pro, and they keep you on your toes defensively. I know Coach Barnett, who's the head coach, is also the defensive coordinator, has a lot to prepare for.
Again, Mark Brown, this is only his second offensive series as a Baker quarterback. He's a transfer from Central High School. Back to pass. He's looking upfield. Oh, he manages to elude the tough rush. Dragging him down is Corey Juneau, who's really played well early this year. And, in fact, a loss of probably 2 on the play. Corey Juneau played very well last week against Plaquemine High. And for Thibodaux coach, of course, Plaquemine really did not give them much of a test.
It wasn't a test, Lonnie, but at that time you got to give credit to the secondary at Thibodaux High School. They had excellent coverage. They ran 3 receivers on the up, all 3 receivers on the up route, going for the big play, and Thibodaux was up to the challenge.
Okay, they'll have to punt it away now. Going back deep for Thibodaux is Eric Allamont. Not much of a rush. They'll go ahead and let him get it away. It's going to bounce down there inside the 10. Big break here for Baker. And very lack of activity on that punt, Coach. I mean, there's nobody anywhere in the area near where the ball bounces at. But sure enough, Thibodaux is backed up with their own 3 again. And Jamie Rodrigue will come back in at quarterback. And, Coach, we talked about it, but certainly one of the strengths is the Thibodaux offensive line. All 5 starters are back. All 5 can bench press over 300 pounds.
They're good kids, Lonnie. And, you know, Don Rodrigue Jr. has lost a lot of weight through a little sickness, but he's down to 210. He looks great. And he was excited before the game. I had the opportunity to talk to him. But their offensive line, Lonnie, is probably the strongest part of their offense right now until they, you know, the inexperienced kids catch up.
Jamie Rodrigue at quarterback. Man in motion is Jason Long. He fumbled the snap, and I think we'll have flags on the play. And, of course, what happened, Donald Paul Rodrigue is diabetic now, I believe. And of course, that had a lot to do with his weight loss. And, in fact, Martin Falls did a feature with him that we'll probably be showing you early next week on Tri-Parish News. Very, very interesting story.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's a very dedicated young man, Lonnie. He came in and with his condition with the diabetes, and also he had, I think, a little tonsillitis right before the season starts, and he comes in, I think he maxes 350 on the bench. So,
jeez.
You know, that's unbelievable.
Well, Coach, I can remember little Donald Paul 15 years ago lifting weights
yeah, he was.
in the Bourgeois Fieldhouse. I can remember that way back when his dad was an assistant coach. A fumble on the play, and Baker's going to get it at the 4-yard line. Recovering the fumble, number 77, Ken Hilton, who is a consensus blue chipper. And I believe Tommy McKay may have forced that fumble. And, boy, I tell you what, Thibodaux is definitely in trouble at this point.
They're their own worst enemy right now, Lonnie. They just completely out of sync offensively. On first down, the offensive tackle moves and gets a procedure call. Second down, I don't know. It didn't look like Jamie had the ball set in his hands, and in the handoff to Trumaine Johnson, he just dropped it on the ground. You could ill afford to make mistakes like that, Lonnie, against a Baker football team as good as they are.
Well, Thibodaux doesn't look like they're going to panic, at least not on the sidelines. Everything seems to be calm. Mark Brown again at quarterback. Hands off to Chris Beverly, tries the right side. He'll get about a yard, maybe 2 on the play, gets down to about the 2-yard line.
Interesting formation that time. They were split into the bottom of the screen with a tight end and a wing back, and they just ran a power play off tackle to the tight end wing back side. It's like almost like an unbalanced line, Lonnie.
And on the stop, Brian Reith for Thibodaux, who has played well so far. Second down and goal from about the 2-yard line for the Baker Buffaloes. Mark Brown calling the signals. You can hear the Thibodaux coaches in the booth next to us. They're not happy. That's Big Hickman, and I tell you what, the Thibodaux defense bouncing back from a little adversity early in this game, and they stack them up at the line.
Good job right there by the front down people for Thibodaux High. Excellent penetration. I don't know who's at the bottom of that pile. Looks like Ivory Reed was at the bottom of it, but I tell you what, excellent penetration by the down people, Lonnie. Standing them offensive linemen up and giving an opportunity for the linebackers to come and fill the holes.
A lot of help from Big 64, Pete Johnson. 3:03 to go in the first quarter. Baker already up 7-0. on a 54-yard touchdown pass from Mark Brown to Ivory Leachman. Brown, oh, he gets stuck, fumble on the play. What a play. Let's see who gets it. Right at the goal line. And it's Thibodaux football, apparently. Ivory Leachman, or rather Mark Brown, the quarterback, is just walking off the field. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at that one?
You're going to see Orlando Thompson here for Thibodaux High, number 91, make an excellent stop on the outside option. And I mean, he'll tell you what, he greeted Mr. Brown. One of them, Lawrence Taylor, Pat Swillen hits right there, Lawrence. That is excellent defensive play. Brings up a 4th down. Baker's going to call a timeout and talk about it.
I tell you what, why don't we go ahead and take a timeout as well. 2:17 to go in the first quarter. Our score, Baker 7, Thibodaux nothing. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And welcome back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. I'm Lonnie Thibodaux along with Don Schwab, and a big test for the Thibodaux defense now. The last 2 plays, they looked great as they stacked up Baker quarterback Mark Brown at the line. Last play caused him to fumble and knocked his helmet off, but Baker did recover it right at the goal line. So now a big, big test. Got to remember, head coach Gary Burnett is a defensive coach first.
Right, Ronnie. You know, you and I have been here many times, and we've seen Thibodaux on many occasions come out the gate and have a very, very slow start, and after about the first quarter, turn it completely around. Now, this would be a tremendous shot right here, Lonnie, for Thibodaux High. You know, even though they'd be 98 yards away from pay dirt, but at least they'll keep Baker off the scoreboard. It'd be a tremendous shot for them.
And the crowd finally getting into the ball game now. They've been a little bit stunned by the early occurrences here in the first quarter. Baker leading 7-0. 4th and goal from the 1. Mark Brown at quarterback. Hickman and Beverly behind him. Touchdown. Beautiful play. I think everybody was probably keying on Beverly, certainly, and Mark Brown snuck it in.
What they ran, Lonnie, was an excellent play call in that time by the Baker offensive coaches. They ran a lead option, what we call lead option. Quarterbacks go down the line of scrimmage, not faking. Fullbacks leading. Everybody's going back to Beverly, and Brown just walks in the end zone. Nobody's on quarterback, Lonnie. You know, the triple option. Somebody has to be on dive, somebody has to be on quarterback, somebody has to be on pitch, and nobody took quarterback.
Extra point attempt is up by Marty Broussard, and it is good. We're going to go ahead and take another break. 2:14 to go in the first quarter. Our score now, Baker 14, Thibodaux nothing. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. Down into your hands. I'm out in the cold. All right, we're back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week, and Coach Schwab, certainly safe to say, a little bit of a stunned crowd, stunned announcers. We knew Baker was good, but so far they've been the beneficiary of some big breaks here early in the game, and they have capitalized.
Well, that's what you have to do when you're playing on the road, Lonnie, is be able to take advantage of the turnovers, and Baker has done that. You know, Thibodaux High has fumbled twice, but only one of them really hurt him. And it turned that turnover in a touchdown, and then the big pass play. But you know, Thibodaux just has to settle down. I think they'll make some adjustments defensively, and but they have to get some consistency offense. I know we repeat ourselves up here a lot of times, but you got to give that defense a little rest and get something moving offensively.
Okay, and they're going to have their opportunity coming up here. Ball going down there to Tremaine Johnson at the 10-yard line. The 20, the 25, the 30. Oh, look at the running by Tremaine Johnson. He breaks to the outside. The 45, the 50, the 46-yard line. What a run by Tremaine Johnson.
Excellent effort. Excellent effort, Lonnie. That's what they need. This is a shot. It picks up the crowd now to get the crowd back in the game. Get something positive, and they just did that. Excellent run.
Jeff Haygood, number 44 on the stop for Baker. And Tremaine Johnson, the man. Of course, last year they also had Corey Owens back there. We're going to take another look at it real quick.
He'll get stuck here on about the 30-yard line and shows extremely good balance. Bounces off. Kind of a Marshall Faulk move right there, Lonnie.
I tell you, let's go back to the live action. 1st and 10, Jamie Roderick fumbles again. And, Coach, they have had problems. Both Rodrigue and also Hills have had that problem, both quarterbacks.
Well, that'll give a quarterback nightmares right there, Lana, and that's something that you could ill afford to do, is have a center quarterback exchange of fumble, because now you're looking at 2nd and 12. At least give yourself an opportunity to move the ball upfield. And you hate to see your offensive get in a situation where it's 2nd and 12.
And they call a timeout, but we'll keep it right here. And we talk about the offensive line for Thibodaux. Of course, when we talk about them, we're talking about Brent Mayu, Shane Thibodaux, Pete Johnson, Chris Dugas, Donald Paul Rodrigue, and these guys have played together for a long, long time. All of them can bench press over 300 pounds. You see the Tiger mascot on the sidelines, and it's going to have to be that offensive line to blow the Baker Buffaloes off on defense, and Thibodaux could get something going here offensively. Now, last week, the young sophomore running back Kirk Johnson looked real good, but of course Thibodaux had the opportunity to be able to play a lot of young players. And Coach, I guess for a state championship team that's out to defend their crown, their first game, I guess you really want to test. They didn't get much of one from Plaquemine, but the good thing is they got to play a lot of young players.
Yeah, they did, Lonnie, but sometimes it can work against it, because Thibodaux High is in a situation where they need to get their skill people some game time. Their quarterback, their wide receivers. Of course, Tremaine Johnson played quite a bit last year, but you're looking at 2 quarterbacks that didn't take a snap last year. You're looking at some wide receivers that had very few snaps booked. So sometimes that works against you when you play that many kids.
And Tremaine Johnson rushed for 783 yards and 8 touchdowns last year for Thibodaux. Thibodaux as a team rushed for 2,003 yards last year. Jamie Rodrigue back to pass. Oh, he's looking for big Jared Johnson, the tight end, and it's incomplete. And Hillary Domingue joins us on the sidelines. Hillary?
Guys, Thibodaux's offense just can't seem to get on track. A couple of quick turnovers, one of them scoring a touchdown for Baker, and 1 defensive lapse. But the offense is really a problem, but it doesn't seem to affect this Thibodaux crowd. These people are as loud as they were at the beginning of the game. We're in for a good game, guys. The crowd's still into it, and hopefully they'll continue. Thibodaux make a good comeback.
All right. Thanks a lot, Hillary. And again, Jamie Rodrigue at quarterback. 3rd and 12 now they'll be playing. Lone man behind him, that's Tremaine Johnson. Fakes the handoff to him. He's looking upfield. Oh, it's incomplete. He had Yancey Benoit up the middle, a little bit high, though, and Yancey couldn't come up with it. So Rodrigue's now 1 of 3 on the night, passing for 9 yards, and Rodrigue will have to punt it away again.
Yeah, you got to come up with them catches, Lon. In a situation like that, you come up with the big play. Somebody has to make a big play for him in order for them to keep control of the football.
Okay, Rodrigue back to punt. High snap, but no real rush to speak of. Ball sails down to about the 12-yard line. Oh, a beautiful job by Thibodaux. That's David Richard, number 17. Coming in to make the stop on the return was Torrey Carter. Good job by Richard.
Excellent coverage by Thibodaux High. That's one thing you're going to see about these 2 football teams, Lon. They're specialty teams. Punting, kickoff return, kickoff teams, they're going to be well coached, and they're going to do an excellent an excellent job as far as covering kicks.
Last year, by the way, this Thibodaux defense only gave up 7.5 points per game. That's it. Baker had that many points halfway through the first quarter in this game. So definitely Thibodaux a little bit out of sync, as Coach Schwab said. But now a big test for Baker's offense. 1st and 10 from their own 8-yard line. Mark Brown, the quarterback. The pitch to Chris Beverly, left side. Oh, he manages to elude a couple guys right there. He's on the run. He's at the 20, the 25. He's got 1 man to beat. Look at this running ability by Chris Beverly. He's going to go all the way. This is unbelievable. Oh, my God. Chris Beverly.
Got a Thibodaux High player hurt down there. That's, what's that, Lonnie, 92-yard run?
92 yards.
Gee whiz. Go look at it again.
On the stop or the hurt man, rather, is Kendrell Johnson. Look at his running ability.
To the weak side of the field, to the weak side of the formation, cuts back clean across the green, right in front of the Baker bench, misses a couple tackles. It does a good job of cutting back, and now you've got nothing but defensive line chasing. And I'm going to tell you what, Mr. Beverly's going to win most of those races.
Unbelievable. That's all I can think to say.
He almost stopped at the 2-yard line. I think he was kind of fatigued himself. It'll be awful difficult right now. You know, Thibodaux is have to show a little character right here, Lonnie. Just bounce back and try to make a game of it. I'm sure it's been a long time. I'd have to check back and see how many. When's the last time Thibodaux has been behind 20-0 and trying for 21-0 in the first quarter?
With 56 seconds to go, too. We're going to go to the sideline report in just a moment after this extra point attempt from Marty Broussard. Think he's related to Marty Broussard from LSU?
No.
And there's flags on the play, so we'll still keep it right here. Let's keep it right here while we wait and see what this is about. I'll tell you what, while they discuss that, why don't we go ahead and throw it down to the sidelines. Hillary Domingue joins us. Hillary?
On that last touchdown run by Beverly, Kendrell Johnson went down number 44 around the 10-yard line. Looked like he should have took a shot to his lower back, but it looks like he's going to be okay. He got up after a little bit of attendance by the coaching staff. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Hillary. And Hillary Domingue down there with the sideline reports tonight. Little assistance from Martin False as well. And there was a flag on the play.
I'm interested to see if maybe Hillary or Martin could get us a report line and see what kind of as far as the heat down on the field is. Well, how's it feel down there as far as heat?
Oh, it's hot. We were down there before the game, and I can tell you it is hot. Almost blocked by Eric Allamon, but he sails it through. So a certainly stunned crowd here in Tiger Stadium. 56 seconds to go. We'll take a break. In the first quarter, our score now, Baker 21, Thibodaux 0. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And we're back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. Lonnie Thibodaux along with Don Schwab and thousands of stunned Tiger fans here in Tiger Stadium. We cannot honestly remember the last time Thibodaux was down anyone to the tune of 21-0, especially with 56 seconds to go in the first quarter. But, of course, Baker is no ordinary team, Coach.
No, they're not, Lonnie. I mean, you know, these guys, you know, we said before the game, they're well coached. They've got an excellent tradition down there. And, you know, when I spoke to Joe Moak before the game, he felt as though they had a good enough football team, you know, to be pretty good. You know, he said how good they're going to be, it just depends on their quarterback situation, because, you know, they got the skilled people like the Beverly kid, Chris Beverly, who's an impact player. Like he just showed on that long run. So they've got the capability. They need experience, just like Thibodaux does. And, you know, Thibodaux's going to turn out to be a good football team. They might turn out to be a better football team before this night's over with.
That's right. Last year was a loss at Baker to, look at this, Tremaine Johnson on the return. Another tremendous kick return by Tremaine Johnson, this time to down about the 47-yard line. And Tremaine Johnson is trying to give a lift to this Tiger team. Torrey Carter on the stop. And, Coach, right now, Tremaine Johnson is probably the one lone bright spot for the Thibodaux team at this point.
Well, I tell you what, Lonnie, he is doing his utmost best to get him back in this thing by himself. And, you know, two excellent kickoff returns here, and has given Thibodaux High excellent field position. You know, the last one, they failed to take advantage of the opportunity of a good field position.
At Baker's size up front again, probably causing a little bit of problem. They've had a few.
We got a discussion here.
Yeah, what's this all about?
I don't understand this. This is
48 seconds left in the first quarter, so it's certainly not a situation involving the end of the quarter. The referee is talking to Coach Burnett and his staff right now.
They're going to make him kick the ball over, because I think the referee on the other side of the field, the head linesman on the kickoff, Lonnie, blew the whistle before the ball was kicked. Somebody must have been the up back, or somebody at safety must have been lined up off sides. But
well,
it looks like he's going to call offsides on Baker.
Okay.
And the only reason I can see they're going to make him kick it again, that he must have, the whistle must have been blown before the ball was kicked, because I know Coach Barnett would rather take the ball almost at midfield and have him kick it again.
And that's exactly what the Tigers are going to do. They have got to get something going offensively very soon here. But they're going to kick it off again from the 35, the way it looks. Well, I don't know.
It's a break for Baker, and it's really a bad break for Thibodaux High School, Lonnie.
Certainly things going against the Tigers at this point in the game, but there's still a lot of football to play. Actually, 3 quarters and 48 seconds left of football, and anything can happen in that amount of time. And again, this is a team that won a state championship last year. They squib it this time. Kirk Johnson, that's the young sophomore on the return this time. Oh, he breaks it to the outside. The 50, the 45, the 40-yard line. And I tell you what, Coach, the Thibodaux Tiger defense and offense, both problems tonight, but boy, the special teams are doing the job.
Like I told you before, Lonnie, they're well coached, and that's one aspect of the game right now that's a strong point for them. And just hopefully with this kind of field position, Lonnie, you're almost at the point of the game. You're down 21-0. Of course, you still, I don't know if they could hear me or not.
All right, it'll be 1st and 10 now with 39 seconds to go in the first quarter. And that was the young sophomore, Kirk Johnson. Man in motion, Rodrigue hands off to Jason Long up the middle. He's a load to bring down. He brings a couple of men with him, and he'll gain about 12 yards on the play. It's Jason Long. On the stop for Baker is Jeff Haygood. 26 seconds to go now in the first quarter. Rodrigue at quarterback. Behind him, Jason Long and Tremaine Johnson. Two men split wide to the left. He's looking and got his man. That's Fred Billazon out there, and he'll pick up the first down. So for Billazon, that's his second catch now. But in fact, both of Rodrigue's receptions now, or pass completions, have gone to Billazon. So for the Thibodaux Tigers, they will play at 1st and 10 again. 3 seconds left, and that will mark the end of the first quarter. With that, we'll go ahead and take a break. The score at the end of the first quarter of play, Baker 21, Thibodaux nothing. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. Game of the Week, I'm Lonnie Thibodaux along with Don Schwab. 21-0 is the score. And Baker High leading the Thibodaux Tigers. And finally, Coach, Thibodaux's got something going offensively.
Oh, yes. Now they're in good field position, Lonnie. They got the ball on about the 15-yard line. You got to stick it in the end zone right here.
The handoff to Tremaine Johnson trying to cut up the middle. It could not do it. Stopped by Big Ken Hilton.
Good penetration that time by the front five of Baker High School. Yeah, Thibodaux High's offensive line's got to have a little bit more movement, Lonnie. Give those running backs, Tremaine Johnson and Jason Long, just a little running room, just some running alleys so they can get the football upfield.
Tremaine Johnson, 4 carries now for 10 yards. Chris Beverly for Baker in 1 quarter of action, 6 carries for 106 yards. Rodrigue looking for Long, I believe it is out there. It's incomplete. No, that wasn't Long. That was Fred Billazon. So Rodrigue is now 2 of 5 for 20 yards passing on the night.
That was Terrence Hills, Lonnie.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hills now in.
Seems like he's throwing the ball real quick. I guess his lack of experience is hurting him a little bit, but it seems like he's just throwing the football a little bit too quick.
So young Terrence Hills in at quarterback now for Thibodaux. 5'8", 150-pound junior. Not really sure why they're not playing Rodrigue, or why they didn't start Rodrigue. Hills up the middle, right in the shoulder pads, hit Big Jared Johnson. And Hills is now 0 for 3 passing on the night, and that one was hardly Hills' fault.
It was definitely not his fault. He put it in the wrong place, Lonnie. He put it right between the 8 and the 4. And the guy, he just took his eyes off of it, but that was a well-thrown pass.
So it'll be 4th down now and 10 yards to go for the Thibodaux Tigers, just outside the 15-yard line.
And they ain't going to go for it, Lonnie. They have no choice here but to try to get 6 points out of this.
Yes, field goal is not going to do them a whole lot of good at this point. They really have got to get a touchdown. Hills looking for the end zones, got his man. Touchdown, Thibodaux. A beautiful job by Hills and a good catch by Eric Alamo.
Concentration on the receiver, number 83 for Thibodaux High School. That's Fred Billazon. Just ran a little fade route, Lonnie. Just threw the ball, what did we call, throwing the ball to a spot. He did a good job that time. Number 7, Terrence Hills, touchdown pass to number 83, Fred Billazon. Puts him back in the game, Lonnie.
Thibodaux High finally gets on the board. Billazon with the extra point, and it's good. We'll go ahead and take a break. 11:13 to go in the second quarter now. Thibodaux's on the board. Our score, Baker 21, Thibodaux 7. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And here's the ensuing kickoff after Thibodaux's touchdown. Of course, they'll get a flag here as the kick sails out of bounds. And, Coach, for Thibodaux High, that was a true test for them. At this point, you have to just write off the first quarter and say, hey, we got 3 quarters to play. Let's do what we've got to do.
Lonnie. They're still in the football game. It's just a question now of their defense. If their defense coming up with a big play, they need a big play defensively. They come up with a big play defensively, you know, make Baker maybe cough up the ball, get a turnover. Anything could happen. You know, you still, you know, we talk in the first quarter. You still got 11 minutes and 13 seconds left in the second quarter. So we have a lot of football left, Lonnie.
So Baker will take over 1st and 10. Let's see where they're going to mark the ball at about the 35-yard line. So far, a 54-yard pass play. Brown to Leachman, a 1-yard touchdown run by Brown, and a 92-yard run by Chris Beverly. That put Baker up 21-0. Just now, on 4th down, Hills hit Alamo with a 15-yard scoring strike. Thibodaux now trailing 21-7. Baker with the ball, 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. And the handoff. That's Beverly again. And, oh, I tell you what a night for him. 15 yards on that carry. Eric Alamo on the stop. That's Alamo.
They've got to come up with a scheme, Lonnie, to contain this young man. He's going to kill him. You know, they can continually move those chains, and that's not good for Thibodaux High School. See Ivory Reed checking back into the football game, which is a plus for them.
So at this point, Chris Beverly doing his Marshall Faulk impression. Of course, we're talking about the San Diego State running back who's originally from Corver High in New Orleans, who's been has been playing incredibly, to say the least. The handoff to Beverly up the middle. A gain of about 3 yards this time on the stop for Thibodaux High. I see number 63, Romanuel Carter. So Chris Beverly, unofficially, 8 carries for 124 yards.
He's going to lose some weight tonight.
Oh, yeah. Good look at the crowd here in Tiger Stadium. What a tradition. Thibodaux football. It dates back many, many years. And my broadcasting partner, Don Schwab, of course, one of the men holding up that tradition. And a gain of about 1 yard on that particular carry. I believe that was Hickman on the carry. On the stop for Thibodaux High was Corey Juneau and Ivory Reed.
Tell you what, when number 80 gets in the game, Lonnie, Ivory Reed, he definitely makes a difference. He stacks a lot of people up. He gives his teammates an opportunity to make some tackles. So he makes a big difference in that front 5 at linebacker for Thibodaux High School.
All right, 9:33 to go in the second quarter. 3rd down now and about 5 yards to go for Thibodaux, or rather for Baker. Fumble on the play. Mark Brown is in lots of trouble. He's sacked on the stop. Gabe Watkins.
Big play right there for Thibodaux High School. That's what they needed. Looks like he was going to try to pitch the ball back to the tailback, and maybe the tailback was going to pitch the ball back to him and try to throw the ball deep. But Thibodaux High had excellent penetration that time, and a big, big loss. And hopefully he can come up with decent field position here with a little punt return.
All right, they'll have to punt it away. Eric Alamo and Terrence Hills are back deep for Thibodaux High. And the punt. See some nice punting here tonight. And a fair catch is called for and then fumbled by Fred Billazon. Apologize, I said Alamo. It was actually Billazon back there, so they'll play it 1st and 10. So at this point, Coach, Thibodaux has now proven that their offense can move on Baker. This is a key test. If they can get another score here before the half, and there's still 8:39 left, hold new ball.
Plenty enough time. No need to panic, Lonnie. It's just, you know, what they could right now could ill afford is a turnover. They don't want to turn over. They want to take the ball now and drive the ball up the field and get some points on the board. And like you said, Lonnie, they're back in the football game.
All right, Thibodaux High with the ball. 1st and 10 from their own 22-yard line. Terrence Hills back into quarterback. Tremaine Johnson with some running room around the left side. The 25, the 28-yard line. And he's stopped down there by Baker's number 26, Van Wright. And Tremaine Johnson, when he gets out in open field, is a very scary sight.
He is. It was off tackle play. Lonnie bounced it outside and picked up good yardage, turned into a negative gain into something positive. So it brings. I tell you what, as an offensive coordinator and as a quarterback, I'd rather look at 2nd and 4 than I would 2nd and 12.
All right. 5 carries, 16 yards for Tremaine Johnson. Terrence Hills, the junior at quarterback for the Tigers. And the pitch to Johnson. This time the sweep around the right side, and he trips and falls, and he'll lose about a yard on the play.
Lost his balance, Lonnie, and just I don't know. It's one thing about Thibodaux High's field, and I think you did too before the game. The grass is awful tall, Lonnie. They let the grass grow extremely tall, and I guess they have that for a reason. But if you know, they said sometimes you want tall grass if you don't have good team speed. So, and if you're playing somebody with speed, this kind of slows them guys down.
So Terrence Hills at quarterback, 3rd down, about 6 yards to go. And a little reverse here. The handoff to Yancey Benoit, who finally comes up with it. Nice cut by Benoit. 1st down, Thibodaux. That was an excellent move by Yancey Benoit.
Very good move, Lonnie. I tell you what, he should have been thrown for probably no gain or a loss. Did a good job of cutting back inside. And I tell you what, he's very, very close to a 1st down. They may have to measure. They will measure. Oh, he got it. No,
he's got it.
Down.
So 6:56 to go in the first half. Thibodaux has faced some serious adversity in this game so far, going down 21-0 at the end of 1 quarter of play. And the handoff to Jason Long. Of course, we didn't really know his status because he had stitches in his foot. And on the stop for Baker, number 42, Mike Ramsey.
Thibodaux trying to run a little tackle trap inside, Lonnie. They've been running the sweep and outside, so they try to come back and kind of. He got yardage. He brings up about a 2nd and 7, so it's still something positive.
Terrence Hills at quarterback, Jason Long and Tremaine Johnson at running backs. Looking up the field, Yancey Benoit complete. I tell you what, Terrence Hills is starting to do a good job at quarterback.
I tell you what, he's starting to hold on to the football a little bit longer, Lonnie, and just throwing it at the last minute. He ran that time what we call a void route and just hit the guy in the void between the hash mark and the sideline. Excellent pass, good reception, big 1st down, Lonnie. 6 minutes left to a halftime. Plenty time left for Thibodaux High School.
Bill is on 3 catches for 39 yards now. Terrence Hills 2 of 5 for 34 yards. So the 2 Thibodaux quarterbacks, Hills throwing for 34, Rodrigue for 20. Hills in trouble, and he is sacked. He's pulled down by number 64, Darrell Jackson. And well, with all that positive, all of a sudden Baker throws a little negative and a loss of 12 yards on the play.
A little penetration that time, a little slant by the Baker front 5, and Thibodaux didn't pick it up. A little inside stunt and trying to get a little penetration, put a little pressure on the Hills, and that's exactly what they did, Lonnie. Inexperience showed up that time.
So 2nd down and about 22 yards to go now for the Thibodaux Tigers. Hills looking up the field, got his man. That's Yancey Benoit, and that'll be a gain of about 9 yards. On the stop for Baker was Kelly Walls, number 11. Now take it back, gain of 11 on the play.
Good job by Thibodaux High's offense right there, Lonnie. Not trying to get it all back at one time. And, you know, tonight it brings up a 3rd and 10. Now they've got at least a chance to pick up a 1st down. That's good thinking on Coach Barnett's part, and an excellent throw by Hills.
4:54, clock ticking down in the first half. 3rd down and 10 yards to go now. All of a sudden, we're seeing an exceptional passing attack by Thibodaux. Hill's in trouble, drops it off to Long, and he'll be dragged down by big number 75, Kevin Thomas.
And we'll get an illegal receiver downfield for Thibodaux High, Lonnie. Big play right there. It'll brought up about a 4th and about 2. Thibodaux High will get hit with an illegal receiver downfield. Penalty against Thibodaux High. I know Coach Barnett's going to argue that the pass was behind the line of scrimmage, but the ball was caught beyond the line of scrimmage.
So they're talking about it. I think Thibodaux may be looking to call a timeout. I know Terrence Hills came out there and was signaling for it, but they're going to mark off the infraction first if they do indeed take the timeout. Thibodaux High has turned it around here in the second quarter. The first quarter undoubtedly belonged to the Baker Buffaloes, getting a 21-0 lead, but Thibodaux's turned it around in the second, getting a 15-yard touchdown pass from Hills to Alamo, and now moving well again, although they'll be faced with a deficit situation now.
Boy, I'd sure like to look at this play again, Lonnie, if we could, because I think what Coach Barnett and Coach Chesson are arguing about is the fact that Jason Long caught the ball on the line of scrimmage. Now, if he caught the ball on the line of scrimmage, that's just like a screen pass. Those linemen could be downfield in high school football. Right. Now, if he's past the line of scrimmage, of course, you can't have a receiver downfield, but I mean a lineman downfield. So I don't know if he's going to win this argument or not. And it sure looked like to me that Jason was past the line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage is marked on about the 45-yard line, and it looked like to me, Lonnie, he caught the ball on about the 43.
I tell you what, why don't we do this, Coach? We'll go ahead and take a very quick break. Again, with 4:36 to go in the first half, our score is Baker 21, Thibodaux 7. We'll be right back as you see the argument on the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And welcome back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. Our score, you see, at 21-7. Thibodaux will now play 3rd down and 15 yards to go, and Coach Burnett unfortunately lost that argument. Trying to say, as Coach Schwab explained before the break, concerning the problem with the flag and the illegal receiver downfield, which was the call. So let's see what Terrence Hills can do on 3rd and 15. Passing again. He's got his man, Eric Alamo, up the field. He won't get the first down, though. He'll be run out of bounds up there by number 2, Eric Stevens. Also in on the stop, number 26, Van Wright.
I'm sure all Coach Barnett wanted to do, Lonnie, is give himself a chance to pick up the first down. I'm sure he's going to go for it right here with the ball on about the 38-yard line. He's going to go for it, 4th and about 5. They keep executing the way they are, Ron. There's no reason why they can't pick up. This would be a big play for them this late in the first half.
Here we go, another big 4th down play for Thibodaux. And this time Baker calls a timeout, but we'll go ahead and keep it right here with 3:56 to go. And, of course, in the state rankings this week, Thibodaux was ranked 2nd in the state. Of course, Neville was ranked 1st, and Baker was ranked 10th in the state this week. And again, last year, Thibodaux came into their game with Baker, I think, ranked about 5th or 6th, I believe, and, of course, lost that one. You see our crowd in the stands tonight, Thibodaux faithful.
Lonnie, we'll have an opportunity. I'm going to go over to the coaching staff for Baker High School. Head coach and athletic director is Larry Thomas. His assistant coaches are Milton Broussard, Joe Mook, whose son Chris Mook was drafted by the Chicago Cubs from LSU, Richie Ory, Lee Miller, and Mitch McGraw. And the trainer is Gerald Harbaugh. Principal of Baker High School is Harry Ingalls, and assistant principals are a good friend of mine, Mr. Wayne Messina and Alan Spears. That's staff of Baker High School.
Of course, at Thibodaux High, the principal Luke Ford, the assistant principals Guy Harvey and Frank Pasqua. Head coach, as we said, Gary Burnett. Assistant coaches Andrew Caluet, Roddy Chesson, Lenny Ford, Glenn Haydale, Brad Villavaso, and new to the staff this year, Mark Norman. Here we go. It'll be 4th down and about 5 yards to go for the Thibodaux Tigers. Last time on a 4th down, they got a 15-yard touchdown pass. Let's see what they do this time. Hills fakes the handoff. He's looking for Jason Long. He'll keep it. First down, Thibodaux High. Terrence Hills.
Big play, Lonnie. Missed tackle. Somebody from Baker is hurt. Looks like he's getting up. Extremely field awareness for the young man for Thibodaux High School. Terrence Hills, 5'8", 150-pound senior. But I tell you what, Lonnie, he did a good job of, I think he's a junior, though, isn't he?
Yes.
Isn't he a junior? But I tell you what, he had great field awareness. He knew exactly what he had to do to get the first down. Big, big play. Plenty of time left, Lonnie. Plenty of time.
3:37 to go in the second quarter. Thibodaux now 1st and 10 from their own 28, or rather the Baker 28-yard line. The handoff, reversing field, Tremaine Johnson, a lot of running room. He's at the 20. He's at the 15. Look at this cutback, runs into his own man. And boy, I tell you what, Coach, this game has everything.
I tell you what, Lonnie, we get an opportunity tonight to see two excellent backs. Chris Beverly for Baker, now Tremaine Johnson. And I'm going to tell you what, this is it looked just like Marshall Falk going in there and hitting inside, no hole, breaking outside, and doing a lot of it his own in the secondary. Excellent, excellent run.
We've seen some amazing things tonight, to say the least. Tremaine Johnson now unofficially 7 carries for 28 yards. A large chunk of that coming on this drive. Hills, oh, he had a man wide open, and he'll be sacked. Oh, Coach, he had Jared Johnson absolutely wide open in the middle at the 5-yard line.
He had a man, Lonnie, like you said, wide open. Just didn't have the opportunity to get the ball to him. You know, just got to keep blocking those guys up front.
Well, Coach, we could talk a little bit about inexperience for Terrence Hills, his first real substantial action as a quarterback for Thibodaux, and he looked right at Jared. Jared held up his hands, but he saw those, he heard the footsteps coming, and he panicked.
Lonnie, you have to really understand that he's only 5'8". He's playing against guys out there 6'3" and 6'4". It's awful difficult for him.
Very good point. Second down, man in motion to the right side is Yancey Benoit. Flags on the play. Looking up the field, touchdown Thibodaux, but I believe that one's going to come back.
I tell you what, it's going to be a close call right there. I think they're going to call illegal motion. Illegal motion on Thibodaux. No, I think he may call on Baker.
No, it's on Thibodaux.
Yeah, they call illegal. The guy in motion, Lonnie, going to the Baker bench, went upfield before the ball snapped. You can't do that. Good call by the official.
Yancey Benoit, and boy, I tell you, that's a judgment call. That's one of those close things where a split second either way. And that's a shame, but that'll happen. But at least Thibodaux is now proving they can move the ball. That was in serious question in the first quarter. Definitely a whole different ball game in the second quarter.
You know, they've shot themselves in the foot a bunch of times, Lonnie. The 2 fumbles the first quarter really hurt them. And, you know, crucial penalties. And, you know, that's why, you know, with some inexperienced people, this is why you play these early games. Hopefully you can get this ironed out by the time district starts.
2:14 to go in the first half. 21-7. Baker in the lead. Second down and an eternity to go for Thibodaux. Hills out there looking for Fred Billazon. Couldn't get him.
That time, Lonnie, I definitely think his height really hampered him throwing the football. He was looking at right at number 81 and the defensive tackle for Baker, but he was standing right in the helmet, and he had to put a little loft in the football and just flew right over the receiver's head. Thibodaux has to call a timeout. And
with that, we'll go ahead and take a break with 2:11 to go in the second quarter. Our score now, Baker 21, Thibodaux 7. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And we're back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. You see the scoreboard here at Tiger Stadium as the fans are starting to get back into this game. And, Coach, you commented to me earlier that it looked like the fans were a little quiet early in the game, even before the adversity that Thibodaux faced, but they're bouncing right back into it just like the team.
Yeah, they should be, Lonnie. I mean, these people have a lot to be proud of over the years. I mean, what they had three straight district championships, and finish it off with a state championship last year. But I thought at the beginning of the game, Lonnie, they were kind of in a lackadaisical mood for a Thibodaux High crowd. They usually pep up here is pretty good for Thibodaux High's cheering section.
Third down now, and about 20 yards to go. Terrence Hills looking upfield. Incomplete. He was looking for Yancey Benoit. Good job on the defense out there by Baker's Kelly Walls, and so it'll be fourth down. Now, Coach, what do you do now? Go for it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think you need to go to the end zone, Lonnie. Something good may happen to you. You pick up a first down. They still can pick up a first down on about the 5-yard line, so they don't have to get the ball in the end zone, but I think they need to go get some points here.
So that's the situation.
I think they would be out of field goal range. That would be a 42-yard field goal.
Okay, here we go. Fourth down, about 20 yards to go. 21-7, Tremaine Johnson in motion to the left side. Hills looking upfield, looking for his man. Oh, he's almost caught. Now, is there going to be a flag? No flag. Well, Coach, that could have been incidental contact. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, Lonnie. Number 84 had an opportunity to catch the football. He was knocked off track before he had that opportunity. And I tell you what, I think it was definitely pass interference. Whenever a player has an opportunity to catch the football, regardless if somebody else in your team has an opportunity, you cannot take that away from that young man. So I don't know. That's a very questionable call. Not a no call.
Yeah, very crucial no call that time, and that definitely hurt the Tigers with 1:57 to go in the first half. Baker will take it over, 1st and 10 for the 25. Mark Brown in at quarterback. Hickman and Beverly behind him. Beverly gets the pitch, sweep to the left side, and he'll get about 7 yards on the play. Flags on the play. Thrown somewhere in the vicinity of where the fullback Hickman was. I don't know if it was illegal block or holding or whatever.
I tell you what, Baker's going to get called for clip here on number 9, Gerald Thibodaux, the cornerback for Thibodaux High School. Did a good job of containing, and the wide receiver was blocking on young Gerald, and did a good job. And I think the tight end it might have been Hickman, the fullback, came from behind and caused the clip.
Unofficially, Beverly with 9 carries for 132 yards in the first half, but again, 92 of those came on one play. That'll help pad your stats.
But they all count, Lonnie, in situations like that.
And that one definitely counted because it was for a touchdown.
I'm sure Coach Thomas from Baker didn't like this. He just wants that clock to run. I think he feels very fortunate in that he's ahead 21-7. He don't want to make any mistakes down here and give Thibodaux a cheap one right before half.
1:51 to go here in the second quarter. Mark Brown, the signal caller for the Buffaloes. Hands off to Chris Beverly. He'll try the right side. He gets smashed out there by the Tigers. Gabe Watkins and Corey Juneau on the stop for Thibodaux High.
They got to the football that time, Lonnie. They're playing well right now. They just, again, like you say, you take away the turnovers, you take away the big play. This is an entirely different game, but that's why you play the game, and you have to count everything. It's a shame that you do sometimes, but Thibodaux High gets the ball the second half on the second half kickoff, Lonnie, and they get points on the board right away. They can make a very, very interesting game.
Second down now, and about 17 yards to go for the Baker Buffaloes with 1:10 to go. As Coach said, and there'll be flags on the play, and Gabe Watkins crossed a little early and didn't get back, I don't believe.
Lonnie, I might add, previously in the last few years, that this rule in high school football, you could bluff a blitz, but now with the new rule in infractions, a person can move parallel to the line of scrimmage, but he cannot make a motion going toward the line of scrimmage like that young man just did. You cannot do that anymore. You cannot, you always see people trying to draw offense off sides. You cannot do that anymore. You can't go north and south. You only can go parallel and not intentionally try to draw the offense off sides. Every time a defensive man gets into the zone, now they're going to throw the flag, and it's an encroachment offsides.
Well, that explains what that was about then. Again, they whistled that one on Gabe Watkins, number 31. Here we go. Second down now and about 11 yards to go for Baker. The handoff to Beverly. Good job on defense out there by, I believe, Brian Reith. Yes. Good job by Reith, and Reith has had an excellent ball game, Coach.
He has. He almost stripped the ball from the ball carrier there last time. He grabbed onto the football, and the running back just had pressure on both ends and was able to hang on to it. Baker's just going to let the clock run out now, Lonnie.
21 seconds to go, and you're right. That's probably what they're going to do. Well, in fact, that's actually what they're going to do. No reason to believe that they won't. We've had a few technical problems during the first half. We're going to try to get those ironed out at halftime. They'll have to run one more play, and let's see. They'll probably just take a knee, and let's see. Did they whistle them for too much time?
I tell you what, I hate to criticize officials, but the back judge, the guy standing in the secondary line, his job is to put his hands up when there's 10 seconds left on the clock for the start to play. I was watching the clock. He puts his hands up at 11 seconds, okay? Now he blows the whistle with 2 seconds left, so I don't know either if he can't see that clock or what, but that was a bad call.
Right, here we go. 2 seconds left. They'll probably just take a knee here, and that's what they do. Well, actually, Brown will get a couple of yards before he takes the knee. So we'll go ahead and take a break now. At halftime, our score is Baker 21, Thibodaux 7. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. I'm Lonnie Thibodaux along with Don Schwab, and here we go to start the second half. Kicking off is Marty Broussard. It'll go down to the Tigers' Tremaine Johnson from his own 15. He's at the 30, the 35. He's on the run down to the 50-yard line. And Coach Tremaine Johnson has been the key for Thibodaux High tonight. Without him, they'd be in serious trouble.
I tell you what, Lon, that's 3 of them now. He's come a hair from breaking. That time somebody caught him on his shoulder pads. I tell you what, he's doing everything possible as an individual to put him back in this football game. I think it's very important right now, Lonnie, for Thibodaux High to get points on the board, get 3 or get preferable. I know they'd like to get a touchdown, but I think it's very important for them right now to get points on the board on this drive.
Glenn Butler on the stop. Thibodaux High 1st and 10, the ball right at midfield. Terrence Hill's the quarterback. He's back to pass, and he finds Fred Billazon out there. He's got running room. He's at the 40, the 35. A gain of 15 big yards for the Tigers. And, Coach, the first quarter belonged to Baker. The second quarter belonged to Thibodaux, and it looks like the Thibodaux Tigers started out the third quarter pretty well.
They can move the football, like you said, Lonnie, in the second quarter. I think one drive they had the ball for 17 plays, and sad thing about it, they didn't get any points on the board. But that time, outstanding block downfield by number 85, Yancey Benoit.
First down and 10 yards to go, gain of 15 on the play. The quarterback, Hills, is now 5 of 10 for 72 yards. Benoit in motion to the right side. Hills hands off to Johnson, and he'll trip down at the 40, so a loss of 5 yards. And, Coach, you and I were talking at halftime. It certainly seems like Tremaine Johnson's got a whole lot more yards than 23 yards like he's got right now.
Well, it's like you said, Delano, you take off, think you got a lot of yards with the 2 kickoff returns he had. But he's got the capabilities, just like the Beverly kid for Baker. He could break one at any time. He's come awful close on a number of occasions.
Chris Beverly for Baker, 11 carries for 138 yards in the first half unofficially. Of course, 92 on one run for a touchdown. Hills, good job, good composure back there in the pocket. And he finally gets manhandled at about the 43-yard line, and people are arguing for a late hit, and they get it. Liddell Wade on the stop, and I think what the fans wanted, Coach, was perhaps a late hit, and I think what they might have gotten was unsportsmanlike conduct.
I think they're gonna get him with a taunting call here, Lonnie, number 64 for Baker High School. Just gets a little bit overexcited and makes a big play, and it's gonna cost his team 15 yards. Big break for Thibodaux High School right here.
Well, Coach, it's very unfortunate. The first quarter was completely belonging to the Baker Buffalo team. Thibodaux played very well in the second quarter, got a touchdown on a 4th down, and then should have had another one, at least a very good opportunity. It was an unfortunate no call, but it looks like that hasn't bothered Thibodaux at all. They're coming out with their eyes on fire right now.
Well, They got to stay with their game plan, Lonnie. Like we said, they have plenty of time left in the football game, and they can ill afford to panic, and they've showed so far they're definitely not going to panic.
So the Baker fans, who are quite rowdy on the other side early in the game, are no longer rowdy as Thibodaux is bouncing back. The handoff to Tremaine Johnson. Lots of running room. The 20, the 15, 10-yard line. What a run by Tremaine Johnson.
Little lead draw that time. Excellent execution. Good job by the offensive line for Thibodaux High School. Gaping, huge hole. Tremaine Johnson does a good job of turning the ball upfield. Big first down on about the 11-yard line, Lonnie.
Beautiful run by Tremaine Johnson, who's unofficially got 9 carries for 40 yards now. So that big size, that big team for Baker is not as much of a concern as it was early in the game, as Thibodaux has regrouped and figured out a way to move the ball on the Buffaloes. Terrence Hill's looking in the end zone, got his man, almost intercepted.
Again, Lonnie, inexperience of the little Hills kid, but I think he just threw the ball a little bit too quick. He needs to sit in that pocket, look at his receivers, give him time to make that break, try to throw the ball in the sweet spot, sugar spot, what we call, in the open. And that time he just threw the ball, the projection of the ball went down to the ground.
Second down now, and 10 yards to go. The Tigers can get a first down without getting the touchdown. Hills with the pitch to Johnson. Beautiful job by Tremaine Johnson. Touchdown, Thibodaux.
Big play right there, Lonnie. Thibodaux High School came out in trips formation to the Baker sideline with one back with Tremaine Johnson. Just a regular down the line speed option, what we call one-on-one. Quarterback makes an excellent read on the replay here. Defensive ends got quarterback. Pitch to Tremaine Johnson. Good downfield blocking by the wide receivers. Touchdown. Big offensive drive for Thibodaux High. We have a hurt Baker player on the field. Looks like cramps, Lonnie.
Yeah, and of course you're going to get a lot of that early in the season. It is very human. You and I have been kind of joking all game about that front that's supposed to come in, and I just know that when this game's over at about 9:30, that's when the front's going to come in.
I think we need to check with your weather forecaster, Debbie, huh, Lonnie? Didn't she say they had a little cool front coming tonight?
Yeah, Debbie did say that. I don't know. Well, what Debbie did say tonight on the news is that it would be nice for the weekend.
Oh,
and
okay.
I don't think Friday night counts as the weekend to Debbie.
That's right.
So right now you see the MASH squad out there taking care of a couple players who have the Charlie horses. So Tremaine Johnson, Coach, I guess if you had to give a most valuable player halfway through the game or a little bit over halfway through the game, undoubtedly we know who would get it both teams. Chris Beverly, Tremaine Johnson.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. I tell you what, you got to give credit that time to Terrence Hills, Lonnie. He's a young kid that had very few. Spoke with Coach Roderick from Nichols at halftime, and he said he had a few snaps last week against Plaquemine High School. But you've got to be impressed with the young man. He's made some good reads tonight, and he's come up with some big plays.
So Thibodaux has fought their way back into this game. It's 21-13. They're still trailing with 10:13 to go. And as a coach, I guess, what does this say for this Thibodaux squad? If they're able to come back from a 21-0 deficit and perhaps win this game, what does that tell to this young team?
Well, it shows them that no matter what the score indicates, Lonnie, early in the football game, you always have an opportunity to come back. They had ample chances just to fold up the tent, the way we say in the coaching profession, but they never did. They never lost their cool. The sidelines, the coaching staff was very, very cool. They know they've got the capabilities and the offensive personnel and weapons to move the football on, and they certainly have proved that throughout the night. So now, an extra point away from being 7 points down and a lot of time left in the football game, so you know that anything can happen.
Fred Billazon will come in to attempt the extra point, and I guess a lot can be said about winning a state championship. And there's flags on the play. And Baker player reported late. I'm not really sure if that had anything to do with what the call was.
And I might add, Lonnie, it looks like the Baker kids are really getting tired. The front five, especially for Baker, I can see them kids just gasping for air. Of course, it's real humid on the field, and I know Martin and Hillary down there really it's just hot. But I don't know what the problem is now.
Now, of course, that's an interesting thing to point out. Although Baker...
No, I think Thibodaux's going to go for 2
Go
now,
for
Lonnie.
2. It's not a bad move. Let's see what happens here. Of course, they're going to go for 2. So Thibodaux High decides to be a little gutsy here, and they're going to go for 2. And I think they got it. Well, Coach, what do you think about that call?
Well, I tell you what, you got to go for it, Lonnie. I don't know what the book says on being down by 6 or 7, but all Thibodaux High did was get in the wishbone set and just run the blast off tackle. Thibodaux offensive line again did a great job of surge. Took the whole defense of Baker High School, put him in the end zone line, and Tremaine Johnson was able to walk in.
Well, what a job, boy. Now, I'm looking at the chart. Of course, we have something. This is Bruce McDonald from H.L. Bourgeois gave me this. There's a chart that coaches look at depending on how many points ahead or behind you or whether you should go for 1 or 2. You know, and that's what I'm looking at right now. Of course, they were down 21-13. So it says when you're down by 8, you go for 1.
But that's not with a penalty line. You know, you got to realize they moved the ball half the distance to the goal line. You're 1.5 yards away. So Coach Barnett felt as though that his offensive line would be able to, you know, shove the ball down their throat, and that's exactly what they did.
So good call by Gary Burnett and the Thibodaux Tigers. Now they're only trailing 21-15. Tell you what a heck of a comeback by the Thibodaux Tigers. And the kickoff down there by Ivory Reed. Baker with the ball, and apparently there are flags on the play, or at least action stop, Coach. I'm not real sure why. And we had some technical problems during the game, but I think we may have them worked out now. I know Coach and I are happy to,
yes,
to hear that.
Happy to.
We had some communication problems with the truck that have now worked out. So it looks like it's against Baker. Let's see what it is. Offside. Okay, offsides on the kickoff return is what they're going to call. So what a game here tonight in Tiger Stadium. I tell you what, Coach, a few people kind of joked with us before the game saying, look, don't y'all bring that bad luck to Tiger Stadium that y'all brought to Guidry Stadium last week to Nichols when they got swamped 38-10 by Northeastern. Boy, I tell you what, at the end of the first quarter, I was ready for a lynch mob to come and get us, but it looks like it's turned around.
I don't think you or I had anything to do with the outcome of that game last week. I think it was just a little bit too much Northeast, Lonnie. I don't think that bad luck had anything to do with it.
Well, I don't think we had anything to do with the fact that Thibodaux was down 21-0 after 1 quarter here either. Ivory Reed with the line drive kickoff to Ivory Leachman. Leachman's got some running room out there, and we've seen a lot of great returns tonight. And how many times you're going to see a kickoff by a young man with the first name of Ivory and the return by a young man with the first name of Ivory? But that's what we just had. And on the stop for Thibodaux was Jason Thibodaux.
Again, Lonnie, poor tackling by Thibodaux High. I spoke to Coach Brad Villavasa briefly right at the end of the half before the second half kickoff, and he said that one of the biggest disappointments in the locker room at halftime was the missed tackles. They had 7 missed tackles on Chris Beverly's long run. They can't afford to do that against a good running back.
Right, here we go. Baker with the football. We haven't seen them a whole lot on offense since the first quarter, but we saw enough to scare us. Chris Beverly on the carry. He'll pick up about 6 yards, and he's had quite a game. 12 carries for 144 so far unofficially. Thibodaux on the stop. Adam Email
does a good job of running the football north and south, Lonnie. He's got great body lean to him. He doesn't give those defensive people a real good shot at his body, and that's the signs of a good running back.
Baker High with the ball. Again, the quarterback is Mark Brown, a transfer from Central High, and this is his first action as a Baker quarterback when he got the start tonight. Flags on the play, and I think someone jumped for Baker this time.
I don't know what they're going to call. We'll go over that rule again, but the encroachment of the defensive man. But when the defensive end for Thibodaux stepped across, the offensive tackle for Baker moved, so I'm sure they're going to call illegal procedure against Baker.
That is a good call, sir, because that's indeed what it is. Great crowd here tonight at Thibodaux High School, and we certainly expected it. Of course, this young man, Chris Beverly, who ran for a 92-yard touchdown in the first quarter, is the same young man who ran for the long touchdown after the pass reception last year at the end of the game to defeat Thibodaux. Now, I don't think we've ever shown it on HTV, but I have seen the tape, and trust me, somewhat of a fluke. I mean, it was an unbelievable play if you see it. Just a breakdown by Thibodaux on defense. A couple of defensive backs ran into each other. It was just, fate would have it, Coach, when you look at the play, fate would have it that Thibodaux would win the state championship but not go undefeated.
Well,
and when you see that play, you'll know that was the case.
I think the bottom line, and I think Coach Lorio put it at his best, you know, you learn, sometimes you can learn a valuable lesson from a defeat, and I think that in the long run, Lonnie, I think it helped him more than it didn't hurt him. Hurt Thibodaux.
Of course, we're talking about former Thibodaux coach Dennis Lorio, who's now at LSU. In fact, we want to say something else about him. We'll wait till after this play. Third down now. Brown back to pass. Looking up the field, got his man. That's Kenny Lee. He's got some running room. He's at the 25-yard line and is finally brought down there. What a play. Finally brought down by Eric Allemont.
Good job that time by Mark Brown, Lonnie, of staying in the pocket, keeping his eyes upfield, looking at his receivers, and hitting the young man coming across the middle. Made a big play. Got excellent field position now. Ball on Thibodaux High 25-yard line.
Kenny Lee with the catch, 40 yards. How about the quarterback, Mark Brown, in his first ever action? But Baker, he's 2 of 3 passing for 94 yards. More with that comment about Coach Lorio in just a moment. 1st and 10 now. The handoff to Hickman, the big fullback. And, Coach, the thing we want to say about Coach Lorio, Hillary Domingue was telling me before the game that they had a chance when they took a trip to Chicago earlier this summer to see both the Cubs and the Saints playing at the Bears, that they got to run into Archie Manning and Jim Henderson at the game, and they were talking to Archie Manning, who said he was extremely impressed with Dennis Lorio when he coached in the All-Star game this summer.
Oh yes, I tell you what, he's got a good future ahead of him. Now he's very, very intelligent and does a good job of relating to the kids.
Okay, we're having some technical problems again here in the booth with communication back to our production truck. We'll try to get that worked out. Look at this. Look at the running by Beverly. He is unbelievable.
Again, missed tackles. Missed tackles on the part of Thibodaux High secondary. Looks like they're just trying to grab him with their arms. And I tell you what, Lonnie, you cannot grab this young man. He's got to be about, the program says 175, but I went on the field and looks like about 190, and very, very solid at 190 pounds.
What a heck of a carry there, about 17 yards on the carry. For Kenny Beverly, he is, or Chris Beverly rather, 13 carries for 161 yards. And there's a timeout on the field with that. Thibodaux calls it. We'll take a break. 7:56 to go in the third quarter. Our score, Baker 21, Thibodaux 15. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And welcome back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And unfortunately, we just missed the touchdown. Beverly got it in from the 3-yard line. And unfortunately, we got some technical problems that our crew is working very diligently to work out that are very beyond our control. And Chris Beverly just snuck it in from about 2 yards out, and that young man now has 2 touchdowns, and he also has 14 carries for 163 yards. And, Coach, great job by Baker to bounce right back into this one.
Sign of a good football team, Lonnie, to be able to come back and answer a touchdown with a touchdown. Good drive.
And the extra point is good. So we'll go ahead and take another break. 7:52 to go in the third quarter. Our score now, Baker 27, Thibodaux 15. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. Welcome back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week, and again we're back, and Beverly just snuck in with another touchdown, and so Baker is now up 28-15, and for Thibodaux High, a great comeback, and unfortunately Baker just spoiled that momentum that was going in the Tigers' favor by rushing it right down the field. And the key, Coach, especially in the first quarter, but again on that drive, is Baker with the ability to get the big play.
Lonnie, when you have great athletes, and he's shown tonight, Mark Brown, it could make a big play. And of course, we all know about Chris Beverly. You know, Lonnie, you've got to, you know, when you play on this level in this 5A football, any level that you play on, when you have those gifted athletes, skilled people, they're going to make the big plays, and these two young men have made them tonight.
And the kickoff for Baker. That's Marty Broussard doing the honors. Tremaine Johnson at his own 10-yard lines. Uh-oh. This could be the one we're waiting for. Oh, he got tripped up by the kicker. Down to the 45. And, Coach, have you ever seen a player that was so close to breaking so many touchdowns on so many returns in the same game?
Boy, he has come awfully close, Lonnie. Number 81, the kicker, Marty Broussard, just does a great job of making a one-on-one tackle in open field. That is extremely, extremely hard to do.
Right after this play, Hillary Domingue has a sideline report, so we'll go to that right after this play. 1st and 10 for the Tigers now at the Baker 44. Back in at quarterback Terrence Hills. The pitch to Tremaine Johnson. Look at the running ability. He'll get down to the 35, and he was tripped up by Kerry Singleton. Let's go down to the field, and here is Hillary Domingue.
Thibodaux still is in the game, down just by a couple of touchdowns of the Buffaloes. A big comeback by Baker that time with their first sustained drive of the night after Thibodaux struck early in the 3rd quarter. Still a lot of time to go, though. Thibodaux's defense looks a little tired from chasing Chris Beverly, but he's a good running back. They need to contain him. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Hillary. You are correct, sir. That is exactly what's going on. They are very tired from chasing Chris Beverly, but I think the defense of Baker is now probably getting a little tired of chasing Tremaine Johnson, too.
I think a big key in this football game right now is who's going to stand up under the pressure, who's going to be in the best shape, physical shape. The front 5 from Baker is definitely a tired football team. I see Coach Thomas and Coach Milton Broussard from Baker making frequent substitutions, and right now you just need some fresh bodies in the game.
1st and 10 for the Thibodaux Tigers. The ball at the Baker 30-yard line. What a game. Didn't think it would be this exciting and, well, actually this close after the first quarter of action as Jason Long gets tripped up by number 81, Marty Broussard. Long with a gain of only a yard. He's got 3 carries for 16 on the night. Tremaine Johnson, 12 carries for 66. Looks like an official's timeout for injury. Big number 71, Brian Keltner for Baker, seems to be hurt.
I might add, Lonnie, Coach Milton Broussard, a good friend of mine, is on the staff at Baker High School. I think he's a defensive coordinator. This is his 35th year in high school football, so he's been around quite a while. He's seen a lot of them come and go.
Tell you what, it sure is a coaching fraternity. I'm constantly amazed how you coaches know all other coaches. Wherever you go in the state, y'all know everybody. It's unbelievable. Hills, the quarterback, the pitch to Tremaine Johnson, sweep around the right side. Good move by Johnson. He works his way to the outside. He'll be close to the first down. It'll be about a yard shy, though. Gain of about 8 yards, and on the stop for Baker was Darrell Jackson.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lonnie, I've been very impressed so far tonight with Yancey Benoit, number 85, the wide receiver with Thibodaux High. He just threw an outstanding block that time. He was in a position what we call a stalk block, and he would stay with that defensive back from the time that Tremaine Johnson got the pitch to the time he was tackled. Outstanding job by Yancey Benoit.
3rd down and a yard to go for the Thibodaux Tigers. They're driving again, but trailing. Jason Long, oh, he won't get it. He ran into the back of Marty Broussard and may have actually lost about a half of a yard. And so Thibodaux now be faced with another 4th down, but they've had a little bit of success with 4th down conversions so far tonight.
Let's see if they come back in that wishbone package. I see they're putting Big Ron Wagner in the game. They may go with that short yardage package here, Lonnie. Little wishbone set, no Wagner's coming back out.
So they're giving some different looks to Baker, maybe trying to cross him up.
They are in the wishbone set.
And the handoff to Jason Long. He's got the first down.
Good call that time by Roddy Chanson, the offensive staff from Thibodaux High School. Of course, I'm sure Baker High School was looking for number 28, Johnson, to get the football. He turns around and runs a little H package out of the full house wishbone set, and Jason Long picks up a big first down.
Kevin Thomas on the stop for Baker High School, and Thibodaux now 1st and 10 from their own 18-yard line, or rather the Baker 18. 4:44 to go in the third quarter. Baker leading 28-15. Great high school football game. Terrence Hills, he'll keep it. He'll turn it upfield. He'll get smashed down to the 15. On the stop for Baker is Ken Hilton. And a lot of colleges are looking at him, and also Andre Davis, the big 295-pound guard. In fact, actually Andre Davis, who's number 78, who I don't think we've mentioned his name all night up to this point. Andre Davis is consensus one of the top 10 blue chip prospects in the state.
Tell you what, Jason Long is a tired football player. He just came off the field, Lonnie. He's a young man that cut his foot after the storm. Hurricane Andrew hit, and he hadn't practiced very much in 2 weeks, and it shows.
And Hills hands off to Tremaine Johnson up the middle, and as if we already have one famous Gano brother in the booth, now we have two, Coach.
Oh, look, I'd rather not mention his name, but I think his name is it Bruce?
I think that's
Is it Bruce?
It
is Bruce.
Oh, yeah, he was the first, 1,000-yard rusher at South Terrebonne?
Yeah, he picked up more yards and got more fights in 1 year than anybody in the history of South Terrebonne High School.
Well, we had to have a tie-in, and of course the tie-in is South Terrebonne also winning a state championship last year along with these Thibodaux Tigers. A night we'll never forget in the Superdome.
Big downhill, Lonnie, third down.
Terrence Hills. They're looking for Yancey Benoit. Look at Terrence Hills. Oh, man. He finally gets sacked back there by Mitchell Tate. And, you know, not only was he the first 1,000-yard rusher, I understand from his brother Gene, he was the boxing champ at South Terrebonne.
Well, that's good. I tell you what, Lonnie, the inexperience right there really told on young Hills kid that, you know, they were in field goal range, and now they takes him completely out of field goal range. He's got to learn when he gets the ball down there on the plus end of the field that in a situation he's got to throw the football away and give his kicker an opportunity to put 3 points on the board, because right now that'd be very, very important. So
tough situation for the Thibodaux Tigers now. Terrence Hills just walked over to the referee and gave him a message of some type. I'm not sure what.
And they look for the guard around here.
4th and 25 for the Tigers. The guard around you were talking about, and it's now Baker ball.
They tried it. Now, Lonnie, the new rule in Federation football is that whenever you run the guard around play or whenever you run a trick play, you have to notify the official. And that's what young Hills did. He went over to the referee, told him that the play was coming so the referee could watch for it. But the only negative thing about that, when that defense sees that guy goes talks to the referee, they know something's coming up.
And especially if you're a good team that's well coached by like Baker, there's no doubt. As soon as, and I found it very unusual that Hills would go over and talk to the referee before the play. I don't know if I like that rule, Coach. That's terrible. Oh, fumble on the play. Baker will get it back, though.
Oh, that was an opportunity for a big play.
Ron Wagner forced that one.
Had an excellent penetration, Lonnie, by Ron Wagner. Could have been a very, very big turnover right there for Thibodaux High School.
This game has had everything. And you hear the score 28-15 with Baker in the lead with a 1:52 to go in the third quarter. And you think, well. But believe me, this game has been a lot more exciting. And we've had some incredible plays, to say the least. And Baker broke out to a 21-0 lead. And Thibodaux has done a great job of getting their way back into this game. Unfortunately, the defense let down their guard a moment ago and let Baker score. Another fumble on the play, and Baker gets it back again.
Thibodaux High is getting excellent penetration from their front five people, Lonnie, and forcing the Brown youngster to make some decisions, pitching the ball sooner than he wants to, and the running back's not looking for it, and another big play.
Well, I tell you what, this game has been nothing but big plays. Something about Thibodaux football, and of course, I think we did 6 of their games last year, if you count, of course, all the playoff games as well. And they do nothing else if they don't entertain you. I mean, that's no doubt about it. Regardless of who the coach is, Lorio did it. Now Burnett's doing it. This is Beverly. He breaks his way to the outside, breaks a couple tackles. He'll go out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. And let's see what they're going to call down there. Nope, no flag. I thought we might see a flag, but they'll still be way short of a first down. On the stop for the Tigers was Gabe Watkins.
Well, they let him out the hole right there. At least they didn't pick up a first down, but they had an opportunity. They had the ball back on about the 12, 15-yard line. They let him out, and it gives them a little bit more room to kick the football. But Thibodaux should come out with excellent field position And I tell you what, Lonnie, the clock is not being in their favor right now. Down by 13.
Chris Beverly getting very near 200 yards rushing in the game. He's got about 180 unofficially right now. Not a long punt. It'll go down to Eric Alamo at his own 38, his 45, the 50, the 48-yard line. And if nothing else, we have seen a lot of great returns tonight. That's for sure from both teams, especially Thibodaux on the stop. Number 87, Ladeo Wade.
They have to take advantage of the situation right now, Lonnie, with 32 seconds left in the third quarter, down 28-15 of this great field position. They've got this almost at a point right now where they have to stick the ball in the end zone and get some points.
Thibodaux Tigers, time running out a little bit, 32 seconds to go in the third quarter. Time starting to be a factor a little bit. They've got to punch it in on this drive to prove that they are still in it. Tremaine Johnson off of left tackle. He'll get maybe a yard or two, and that'll be about it on the stop for Baker. Big 72, Tommy McKay.
Tell you what, Baker's fundamentally sound, line. They don't, like we said previously, they don't do very much with their front five. They play a base 50 defense, and they may slant a little bit, but they depend on the big front five people to control the line of scrimmage and give their linebackers an opportunity to make the tackles.
And that'll mark the end of the third quarter. Before they can get the snap off, we'll go ahead and take a break. Our score after 3 quarters of action, Baker High 28, Thibodaux 15. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And welcome back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. I'm Lonnie Thibodaux along with Don Schwab with our Eagle Eye spotter Gene Gaino and his infamous brother Bruce Gaino, former South Terrebonne boxing champ and 1,000-yard rusher. And that was back, well, I was going to say I was back before I was born, but I was born in '61 and South Terrebonne was born a little bit after that. So I was pretty much an infant when he did that.
Did you get his autograph yet, Lonnie?
Oh, no, I will after the game.
Yeah, okay, do that. Might be worth some money in about 2 years.
All right, here we go. Second down now for the Thibodaux Tigers. About 9 yards to go. Terrence Hill, still in a quarterback, who's done a pretty good job tonight. First time we really get to see him in his career. And let's see if they're going to say he trapped it. No, they're going to say it's incomplete. It was intended for Jared Johnson.
That was Jamie Roderick back at quarterback line. Number
Take
5.
it back.
He came in for this series.
Yeah, it's getting a little tough to keep track of which one's in at what time.
Brings up a big third down play right here for Thibodaux Hotline. If they have any chance to get back in this football game, I think this is a crucial big third down play.
Here we go, third down and 9, just getting underway. Second play of the fourth quarter. Thibodaux down 28-15. Fake the handoff, gets it out there to number 83, Fred Billazon. He won't get the first down. He'll get about 6 yards, though. On the stop for Baker was Brian Keltner and also Leslie Harlow. And it looks like we have an injured player down on the field for Thibodaux, and that, I believe, is Billazon. Got the cramps, you can tell.
Looks like Thibodaux was maybe discussing going for this, Lonnie, on fourth down, but I think they're going to send their punting team in the game. May look for a fake punt right here.
Do they have to let the referee know that, too?
No, not on that one. Just on the trick plays, Lonnie. Just when you lay the ball on the ground, put a guard around, and various other plays that these coaches have come up with.
Coach, am I starting to sound very obvious that I don't like that rule? I mean, it's like, excuse me, Mr. Referee, I think we're going to run a sweep to the left side now. Thought we'd let you know. Why don't you let the defense know? I don't know. I don't know if I like that rule. I guess they had enough complaints by the Coaches Federation, Lonnie, that they had to come up with some way, because, you know, a lot of times the inadvertent whistle comes into play, and a lot of times when they drop that ball on the ground and everybody's moving around, and it only takes one umpire, referee, to blow the whistle inadvertently,
and all of a sudden you're stopping a big play. So I think they're trying to take the inadvertent whistle out the game, and at least the referee knows that the play is going to be run, and if they run it successfully, if somebody does blow an inadvertent whistle, he then can overrule that whistle.
Right, I got you. Boy, for not being a coach anymore, you're still pretty sharp.
Well, I just do a little reading, Lonnie. They had very, very few rule changes in Federation this year, and of course, the High School Association is playing on the National Federation rules, which is some of it is a little bit different than NCAA rules. I just wish they'd go back to the NCAA rules. I think it's a lot better to you have these officials. Some of these officials are calling high school games, and some of them are calling small 1AA college games. So it's a big difference for them in interpretation of rules, and sometimes these guys make some bad calls, and that comes along with the in the territory. But I think they'd be a lot better off if they were on the one rules.
Well, we got to hope Billazon's problem is cramps. Certainly looked like that right off the bat.
I think so, Lonnie. It's so humid out there, and this stage of the game in the fourth quarter, you're going to start cramping up.
Young man that who has really come on this year for Thibodaux. Very high snap for Rodrigue, but he gets off a nice punt. It'll bounce inside the 20. Thibodaux's down there to fall on it. Oh, gets a good Thibodaux bounce. It'll be coming down at about the 6-yard line, so that's exactly what Thibodaux needed to do. If they couldn't get the score, back Baker way, way up. But, Coach, this part of the field looks very scary. Remember what happened late in the first quarter from this point?
I tell you what we need right now, Lana. What Thibodaux needs is a turnover. And one of them fumbles that were happening in the third quarter that they couldn't fall on and capitalize on. They need a big play right here from their defensive football team. I think they need to come back and redeem themselves. And I really think it would be a tremendous shot in the arm for their defensive personnel if they could come up with a big play here and they could score real quick and get right back in the football game.
Of course, it was right about this point on the field, the end of the first quarter, that Chris Beverly took off for 92 yards and a touchdown. You can guarantee Thibodaux's defense is on the lookout for that again. Mark Brown in trouble, and he'll get back to about the original line of scrimmage, and that'll be about it. Oh. And Hillary Dominguez down on the sideline. Why don't we go ahead and take it down? Hillary?
You can see in the last offensive play for Thibodaux, Fred Billazon getting a little twisted up on the reception. It looked a little worse than it was. All it was just a couple of Charlie horses. They're trying to work it out of him right now. Back to you, Lonnie, and the living legend, Schwab.
I thought he was going to say the living legend, Bruce Gano. But he said the living legend, Don Schwab. Right. So we had to distinguish between the two living legends in the booth. And that's Chris Beverly on the sweep, maybe a yard or so, and that'll be about it.
Well, I tell you what, on the first down play, we didn't see it again, but I thought Brown was awfully close to having a safety. It looks like he went down. It looks like he put the ball down in the end zone. When the ball touches the ground,
it's dead.
It's very, very close. The referee was looking right at him, so I assumed that the ball didn't touch the ground, but it looked awful close to me.
Well, Billazon must be okay. As he sat down there, as Hillary did that report, Hillary was standing right behind him. Billazon seemed to be looking back at the camera and making sure he got some substantial airtime. And so I guess in fact, I see him walking on the track now. So it looks like Fred's okay now. And the handoff to Beverly. He's on the run again. And they do track him down. And if it weren't for David Richard and Jason Thibodaux, he may have been off to the races for 90-plus yards again. And if he would have done that, he would have been in the Marshall Faulk statistical category, almost 300 yards on the night.
I tell you what, Lonnie, that was an opportunity for Thibodaux to come up with the big play, and they couldn't do it. At third and about 7. They'd have backed him. They had him backed up in their own, almost their all end zone, and he comes up and makes a big play. But that's what happens when you have them great skilled people that can make them big plays for you. Make you an awful good coach, Lonnie.
Yeah, I tell you another thing, too. That may have been the most important play of the night for Baker. As you look at the clock and you look at the point of the field that they're on, they've managed to be able to kill a little bit more clock, and this time they're not as lucky. He'll lose about 3 yards on the play. I see Jason Thibodaux in there. I see Richard again, and I also see Brent Adams.
Good job that time by the Thibodaux defense of playing the option. They had somebody in the dive man, they had somebody in the quarterback, and they had somebody on pitch. You can't play it any better. That's the way you draw it up on the board, Lonnie.
And, of course, as we said, head coach Gary Burnett is a defensive coach first and foremost. defensive coordinator at John Curtis for 7 years, 5 of which they won state championships. And look what they've done in the 3 years he's been at Thibodaux. 3 straight district championships. There goes Beverly again, around the left side. Almost had his head taken off, and they're going to call a flag for that. That was Travis Jones, who may have done that unintentionally. And Coach Gary Burnett, who's usually a pretty low-key fella, is not happy about what that call is going to be.
I think it's going to be a personal foul on the Thibodaux High defense. Just, you've got to know where you're at on the field at all times, Lon. I know the guy's doing the best he can, pursuing the football, but you've got to know your limitations and know where you are on the football field.
Look, let's look at it again.
Look at it again. Somebody from the backside is going to come in, runs over that guy from the backside. I think it might have been maybe he called him from a blow to the head, because he definitely wrapped his hand around his neck.
That's a shame. Unofficially on that carry, Beverly's now over 200 yards on the night. In very unofficial stats. We'll try to get a little more official by the time the game's over.
I know Coach Barnett's hoping he doesn't play a back as good as him the rest of the year.
Ooh. You're right. He is a good one. 1st and 10, the handoff. Somebody we haven't seen before. That's Chuck Grimes, number 7. And he gets wrapped up. On the stop for the Tigers, Gabe Watkins made the initial hit.
Go from a senior to a sophomore. Little Grimes kid is a 150-pound sophomore running back, giving Beverly a little breather here. I guess after 200 yards, how many carries is
20.
Chris? 20?
Yeah, so he's averaging about 10 yards a carry.
That's not bad average.
When you consider 92 of them were on 1 run, so that'll skew the average just a little bit. 2nd down now and 8 yards to go. 7:56, the clock is ticking down. Thibodaux's got to stop him now. That's not a bad job of stopping. That's Jason Thibodaux wrapping him up.
Brings up another big 3rd down play for Thibodaux High's defense, and on this drive so far, Lonnie, they haven't shown that they can stop Baker on 3rd down plays, and guess who's coming in the game? Number 30, Chris Beverly. So I guess you could look for him to get the football.
Of course, before the game, as we were doing a little research on Baker, we heard a lot about the two big linemen, Andre Davis and Ken Hilton, who are big college prospects, but not a whole lot about Beverly. We only really knew about him because he beat Thibodaux last year. Looking downfield, incomplete.
Good job defensively by number 44 for Thibodaux High. That's Kendrell Johnson, senior defensive back. Was man all the way. I found it kind of funny, Lon, that Coach Thomas chose a little play action here and put the ball in the air. I guess he felt as though that 6 yards would be hard to pick up, but if I got number 30 back there, I'm going to have to give him a chance to pick it up.
But he's probably getting a little tired now. I mean, after 200 yards, I'd be tired too. So they're in the punt. 7:09 to go in the game. It'll go way down there. Fair catch is called for by Terrence Hills. So they'll take it over at about their own 21. And now 7:02 to go in the ball game. And for Thibodaux, Coach, they have got to score and score quick.
It becomes very crucial right now, not only to score, but like you said, to score as soon as you can. But you know, don't get greedy. You know, maybe try to get Truman breaking or break a big play for you, but try to score as quickly as you can. But with 7 minutes and 2 seconds left in the football game, they don't have much time.
We just had a good shot of Romanuel Carter, number 63, on the sideline. Of course, a returning starter from Thibodaux last year. They have 7 returning starters on offense and 6 on defense from the state championship team of 1 year ago. Rodrigue back in at quarterback. He's going to pass on 1st down. He's looking way upfield. It is incomplete. Broken up there by Leslie Harlow, intended for Eric Alamont. Talked about not getting greedy, Coach. I think they were going for it big time.
Well, he just ran the streak route. The Alamont kid just ran the streak route, and Jamie just threw the ball a little bit too far. Maybe he felt as though Alamont was going to break it off because they had such good coverage, and he couldn't turn around and come back to the football.
6:57 now, under 7 minutes to go in this ball game. Thibodaux has been trailing throughout. 28-15 now. Rodrigue with the handoff to Tremaine Johnson, and this time they stuffed him. No gain on the play. On the stop for Baker was Brian Keltner.
You know, you could look at this football game. I know Coach Barnett is going to look at it, Lonnie, that, you know, the mistakes they made tonight, it could be corrected. It's not a question that they got blown off the field, and the score will indicate that. But, you know, you take away 3 plays in the first half, and this is an entirely different football game. You know, the 2 fumbles that really were crucial in the big pass play with, you know, just that breakdown in the secondary.
So we have a timeout on the field with that. Why don't we go ahead and take a break? 6:32 to play in the ball game. Our score, Baker 28, Thibodaux 15. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And we're back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week, and the band and the Tigerettes from Thibodaux High. And tell you, it's been a heck of a night here in Tiger Stadium. Of course, the fans here wish they had just a little bit more to cheer about, as they're trailing 28-15 right now. And I tell you, if I remember correctly, in fact, I'm pretty sure this would be Thibodaux's first home loss in 4 years, if I remember right, because I remember Dennis Lorio saying last year that the Tiger seniors last year had never lost a home game in 3 years.
That's a tremendous record. That's something to be very, very proud of. I mean, these people will back them up. The enthusiasm's still there. So I tell you what, the next home game they have, they'll have these stands packed again.
And by the way, we have the same Thibodaux Tigers next week on the Game of the Week. It looks like we'll be doing the Thibodaux at Terrebonne game, which will be a good one. And Rodrigue manages to get the first down. He finds Jared Johnson up the middle for a gain of about 16 yards.
Thibodaux's going to go with that 2-minute drill right here, Lonnie, and try to get Baker real tired. And they've got some tired young men out there right now for Baker High School.
And Thibodaux's got to take some quick advantage. They have time. It's 6:21 to go. And they're down by 13 points. Pretty good move by Thibodaux to go for 2 back in the third quarter. Got his man out there. That's Fred Billazon. Got him back in. He gains about 9 yards. On the stop for Baker is Torrey Corder.
Good job. Just run up the field. Billazon just runs a little curl route right at the first down marker. I think it's going to be short, but that's not a big question right now. It's just try to move those chains as quick as you can.
Billazon, 6 catches for 70 yards tonight. He's looked good. Benoit, Johnson, and Alamo have all caught passes tonight as well. Rodrigue in trouble. He'll scramble to the right. He had his man. He'll take it up. Good job by Jamie Rodrigue. Then he gets smacked at the 43, but more importantly, he picks up 12 yards and the first down.
Good job by Jamie right there, keeping his shoulders up, coming up the field, looking down field for his receivers. Nobody was open, just had enough awareness, just tuck the ball in and get what he can. Big first down.
Good job by Jamie Rodrigue. He had a receiver open who would have still had to run about 8 yards to get the first down. Jamie wisely said, no, I think I'll keep it. So good job by Jamie. Oh, he pumped looking for his man. Billazon, and it's incomplete, but a flag way up the field. And that flag's been down there for a while, Coach. You got to assume interference way back there, but
I don't know if he's going to call defensive holding. Or he looks like he's going to call defensive holding on Baker in the secondary.
That's a big break for the Tigers.
Very big. 12 men on the field.
Wow. I thought it looked a little crowded back there.
12 man just got off the field.
Oops. And Hillary Dominguez down on the sideline. Let's throw it down to Hillary.
Just now, defensive coach Brad Villavasso told the troops they have to stay outside on Beverly whenever they get back on defense. He's going inside, but cutting immediately outside. He said to hold their ground on the outside, keep their positions, and don't crowd in and give him an outside lane. They want to make sure he doesn't cut around the outside. They can't give him a first down. Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Hillary. That's Hillary Domingue, of course, our NFL draft analyst at HTV. He's a draft analyzing expert kind of guy, and we want to thank him for doing sideline reports tonight. 1st and 10. Jamie Rodrigue looking up the field, got his man, and that's Fred Billazon again. And a gain of about 6 yards on the play. On the stop for Baker is Van Wright.
Just a quick little curl route, just trying to get the ball to him as quick as he can and just let him go one-on-one with somebody in the secondary. But somebody grabbed him before he can turn upfield.
Rodriguez has thrown for 58 yards tonight. Terrence Hills has thrown for 72. So the Thibodaux quarterbacks both getting into the action tonight. Tremaine Johnson, he's got running room on the right side. He's at the 20. He's at the 15. He gets down to the 10-yard line out of bounds, and first down, Thibodaux.
Well, I tell you what, I can't say enough about number 85, Yancey Benoit, on it. Downfield blocking that time. That young man has done a great job of stalk blocking his defense. Boy, that is very, very difficult to do. He's done a great job doing that tonight.
And what do we have? Baker called the timeout. With that, why don't we go ahead and take a break? 4:33 to go in the ball game. We've got a great one. Our score now, Baker 28, Thibodaux 15. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And welcome back to Tiger Stadium, the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. We're in Thibodaux, Louisiana. I'm Lonnie Thibodaux along with Don Schwab. And what a game. Baker gets out to a 21-0 lead in the first quarter. Thibodaux bounced back and essentially owned the second and third quarters. But they're still down right now 28-15. They're driving again. 4:33, and they're at just outside the 10-yard line, Coach. If they can punch it in here within the next few plays, certainly they have a lot of time to have a chance to win this game.
Oh, there's no doubt. They still have 4 minutes and 33 seconds left in the game. Baker's a very tired football team right now. They got to punch it in real quick, Lonnie, and then turn it over to the defense. Maybe because I don't know, depending on the time remaining in the football game, will depend on, I think, whether Coach Burnett goes for the onside kick.
For Thibodaux High, again, we need to check to be sure, but again, trying to avoid the first home loss in about 4 seasons. Rodriguez quarterback's got his man out there. Bilazan, who's wide open. Jamie will tuck it under, and he'll lose about a yard on the play. And I tell you, that's the two Thibodaux quarterbacks have done a pretty good job tonight as they call the timeout, but we'll keep it here. But that's one problem they've had. Baker's defensive front is so big, they're not seeing wide open receivers.
Yeah, I know the people up here in the stands are really hollering, Lonnie. It's very easy for us to sit up here and as announcers and as spectators man, you can see them purple jerseys open all over in the end zone. But when you got those 5 people coming at you about 6'3", 6'4", believe me, it's very difficult to see on the field.
Wow, because I tell you what, that time, and again, in Rodriguez's defense, he goes back to pass, and again, Jamie Rodriguez, 6 foot tall, so he's not small in terms of quarterback size, but what happened was he had Fred Bilazan at about the 3-yard line, waving his hands out on the left side near the Baker sideline. If he pops it out to Bilazan, Bilazan takes 2 big steps. He's in the end zone, and no one's going to touch him. But, again, Rodriguez was blocked. He had 2 big guys in front of him and couldn't see Bilazan.
I think what it was, Lonnie, I don't think Bilazan was his primary receiver. It looked like he was looking for something across the middle. But I think one of the receivers, was Yancey Benoit, one of them got bumped off that track. Good job by the Baker linebacker, and he couldn't get to the middle of the field where he wanted to be.
All right, here we go. Thibodaux High, second down now. And 10 yards to go. Rodriguez looking around. Has no one to throw to. Tries to get it up there, and it's incomplete. Risky pass. Bilazan may have went off his fingertips there, but it was almost intercepted by Baker. So now Thibodaux's running out of time. And doing a good job on the defense for Baker was Van Wright. And another injured player, probably cramps again.
Baker almost got caught again, Lonnie, with 12 people on the field. One of the defensive linemen for Baker had to hustle off before they snapped the football. Seems like they have trouble counting to 11 right now. These kids are awfully tired. I see some clean white shirts in there for Baker. I know Coach Broussard and the defensive staff is trying to substitute as freely as they can, Lonnie, just try to keep some fresh people in the football game.
Officials timeout for an injury, so we'll keep it right here. For Thibodaux High, as we said, as you see Andrew Caluette on the sidelines, if I remember correctly, Coach Lorio saying last year that their seniors last year who won a state championship had not lost a home game in 3 years. And in danger of losing one here tonight, but if you're going to lose one, You know, you wanted at least to be to a very quality program like this Baker team.
And one that doesn't count in the district standings.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean anything, but the only thing it means is a loss in the one-loss column. But does absolutely nothing for you as far as getting to the district, to the state playoffs.
Well, of course, the other thing you got to look at too, Coach, is again, it's early in the season, and a loss to Baker at this point of the season really only means that you'll lose your state ranking a little bit, you'll drop down a little bit, but so what? Rankings mean nothing until mid-December.
The only time the rankings mean something, Lonnie, is I think December the 11th, about 8 o'clock in the Louisiana Superdome. That's when the rankings really mean anything. So it's good for the parents and the fans to look at that every Tuesday, Wednesday morning in the paper and see where your kids are ranked. But believe me, the only thing that counts is December the 10th and December the 11th, whenever the state finals will be in the Superdome.
I know it was the 14th last year, and
it's usually around that time in December.
Now, Coach, you've only been broadcasting with us for a couple years, but in your short broadcasting career, will anything ever top the night of December 14th?
Oh, I tell you what, that was unbelievable, Lonnie. That's what I'm saying. You know, it has something like that happening in this area, in the Tri-Parish area, Lafourche and Terrebonne. It has a snowball effect on a lot of other schools. You know, these people in the surrounding schools, Bourgeois, Vanderbilt, everybody around here, they say, well, if these guys could do it, maybe with a little work and a little luck, and plus with some good athletes, and which both of these football teams, Thibodaux and South Terrebonne, had last year, maybe they could do it. So, you know, it has an effect on everybody. It has a positive effect on everyone.
And it looks like an arm injury. We thought it was cramps at first out there to the player for Baker. Could be more. Now, again, certainly in South Louisiana right now, as we're still all looking at the hurricane that we just went through a couple of weeks ago, and that just is kind of dominating the news right now. And but again, back in mid-December of last year, there's no doubt what dominated news and sports at that time. It was 2 state championships for this area. And the other thing is, too, Coach, I think sometimes fans, when something like that happens, you get a little spoiled, and you come maybe a little complacent and say, hey, we can do that again. But the chances of what happened last December 14th ever happening again are so unlikely, and that's kind of sad when you think about it.
It is, Lonnie. It was just a situation where 2 outstanding football teams that came out exactly the same year and played well, and of course both of them are very well coached. Coach Curlin and his staff at South Terrebonne, Coach Loriot, who was here last year. You know, both of those football staffs did a great job with them kids. And Lonnie, what we're on the subject, I tell you what, as a Terrebonne Parish parishioner, I like to, you know, at this time for you and Martin and what all y'all did at HTV during Hurricane Andrew was an amazing feat for y'all, and y'all should be complimented. And y'all did a great job of keeping the whole parish abreast of what was going on. Some great footage and film that y'all took, and I tell you what, that was a great job on y'all part.
Well, thanks a lot, Coach. We really appreciate that, and we certainly want to thank all the people who have been very nice and have passed along their gratitude to us. We really appreciate it, and there were some very important reasons why we did what we did. And now the player is coming off the field, and that's definitely a broken arm. They've got a splint on it already, I'm noticing, and yeah, they've got the little inflatable splint on his arm. So I think they're probably going to take him off. There you see him right there on the sidelines, and so I think they're going to probably go ahead and take him, I guess, to the hospital perhaps to go ahead and get that checked out. We're going to go to Hillary in just a moment. Let's go ahead and get this play first. I know Hillary and Martin Falls went check on his condition. Let's get this play done, and then we'll go down to the sidelines. 3rd down for the Tigers and about 11 yards to go. So, again, we'll go to Hillary right after this play.
This is the ball game right here, Lonnie.
Big play with 4:14 to go. The pitch to Tremaine Johnson. Around the right side, he'll get down to about the 10-yard line, and that's it. Why don't we go ahead and go down to the sidelines, and here's Hillary Domingue.
We just got over from the other side. Defensive back Van Wright, number 26 for Baker. Looks like he has a broken arm. They're really concerned he's in a lot of pain. Immediately put ice on it and got him over to the sideline. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Hillary. 4th down, big play now. 10 yards to go for the Tigers. Jamie Rodrigue fakes. Oh, he had his man wide open. Incomplete. Well, again, Coach, that's a perfect example of what we said before.
Jamie goes back to pass, had his man wide open for a moment, but big number 72, Tommy McKay, was right in Jamie's face, waving his arms, and he just couldn't see his man until it was too late.
Awful difficult to see downfield on him when you had those big defensive linemen coming in your face. He just, he threw the ball off his front foot, something that you don't want to do as a quarterback, because he had no zip on the football. He had a man open briefly, but he just threw the ball off balance, had no zip on the football.
Fans starting to leave a little bit now, Tiger Stadium, to beat the rush, and that's not a usual sight you will see here, but again, they got to be proud with the incredible comeback by this Tiger football team tonight. Who would have thought Thibodaux would be down to anybody 21-0 after one quarter? Beverly gets smashed right at the line of scrimmage by Brian Reith. Gain of maybe a yard on the play, and Beverly, again, unofficially just over 200 yards rushing tonight.
Well, I know Coach Barnett's very disappointed, Lonnie. The fact is that he thought maybe probably the strongest part of his football team coming to the season would be his defense. Of course, that's with a healthy Ivory Reed, and when he doesn't play at 100%, and he hadn't played at 100% tonight, he's not in the game right now. He means a great deal to that defense because he can control so much on the defensive side of football.
A few streaks coming to an end here tonight in Tiger Stadium. They have not lost at home in 4 years. They had a 13-game winning streak dating back to last year, and now that will come to an end as well. And again, the last team to beat them was the same Beverly, or rather this Baker team, a year ago at this very week.
Well, I'll tell you what, you said it right, Lonnie, because last year Chris Beverly beat him in the last 29 seconds, and this year, I tell you what, he has got a lot to do with those 28 points on the scoreboard. He is just an exciting, and he's I'll tell you what, a well-conditioned football player, because he's put in a night's work.
Well, it's unfortunate of the injury to the defensive back from Baker, who apparently has a broken arm, and now I guess they'll get him over to Thibodaux Hospital now to check that out. There's Beverly again, now on his 23rd carry of the night, and it looks like he's got the first down, and at this point it's not going to mean a whole lot. Jason Thibodaux on the stop for Thibodaux.
Tell you what, you have to be impressed with Baker, Lonnie. The fact is, when Thibodaux came out the second half, took the ball, scored, and made it 21-15 when he went for two, and Baker came right back and answered with a touchdown of their own. I tell you what, that was a great drive on their part, and put him back in command of the football game.
I want to apologize as fans are leaving the game. You can see they're passing right in front of our cameras. Can't control that. Hickman on the carry, and he'll get about 9 yards for the big Ironhead Hayward-looking fullback.
You can rest assured, Lana, that Thibodaux High is going to be in the thick of things when the district starts. They've got the ingredients to have a good football team again. They just have I think, a few question marks. But I think what we've seen tonight is indicative of they're going to be very, very competitive in that district.
Eagle Eye Gano says they'll be a little short, and as usual, he's batting just short of 1,000. And he didn't even have his brother Bruce up here to help him out on that call, too. So it'll be a little short, 1:40 to go in the game, and of course you're talking about their district race in 7-5A, and I don't think now yet East Ascension that also went to the state semifinals last year. I don't think that the district will be quite as tough or as competitive as it was last year. I think Central Lafourche may not be quite as good as they were last year. East Ascension maybe not quite as good. And apparently Thibodaux, again, maybe just a little short of what they were last year. And a great defensive job there by Jason Thibodaux. But I think Thibodaux undoubtedly still would have to be considered the district contender right now, the top district contender at this point.
Well, there's no doubt, Lonnie. With all the players they got coming back and the tradition that they have here, they will pick their preseason favorites again to repeat as district champs. But, you know, that East Ascension is going to be very good. Again, St. Amon's going to be sound. South Lafourche with Nicky Salvard, a big quarterback, is going to be, I think, a team to be reckoned with. And you can never forget the Bear at Central Lafourche, Coach Bob Grohl and his staff, who do a great job. They'll be competitive, Lonnie. So it's going to be a very interesting district again. You know, I think East Ascension got beat last year in the semifinals by Neville.
Right.
In overtime, I might add. But I tell you what, they were one play away from playing Thibodaux High School in the Dome for the state championship.
Of course, Coach Barron Murphy over there, formerly an assistant coach at Nichols State. He wasn't there when you were at Nichols. He was right before, I think.
Barron and I graduated from LSU together. But he's done a great job over there, Lonnie. You talk about some enthusiastic fans. Of course, you can remember when we played down there when we was at H.L. Bourgeois. They got a beautiful, one of the best playing fields you'll ever play on at Gonzales East Ascension High School Stadium. But those people really get involved with their football. They love it, and they'll let you know where they're from.
That's right. Had some tight ball games over there. Remember Jesse Miles kicking, I believe, an extra point to win a game for us there about, I don't know, 14 years ago.
7-6.
Oh, man. How about Corey Juneau getting in there? Look at Beverly. He's off to the races again. Folks, he's going to be close to 300 yards if he gets this one in the end zone, and he does. Oh, man. Chris Beverly. Oh, jeez.
That's 67 yards. 67-yard run by Chris Beverly, who was put on an exhibition tonight that I don't think people in these stands have seen in quite a while.
Here we go. Let's take another look.
Another run. Again, missed tackles on Thibodaux High part, and I know the coaching staff is very disappointed in the fact you cannot arm tackle this young man. And I'm going to tell you what, Lonnie, he doesn't look tired right there. High stepping right here about the 5-yard line. Exceptional running back.
Let me tell you, he has unofficially 24 carries for 281 yards. The high school equivalent of Marshall Faulk right now in the state of Louisiana. And let me tell you, he almost broke another 90-yarder early in the fourth quarter. He could be, if you can believe it, he very easily could have been near 400 yards rushing tonight. And you're talking about a great Tiger defense he's doing it against. Unbelievable.
Well, I tell you, this has got to be definitely a big shot in the arm for Coach Larry Thomas and his staff. And I talked to Coach Thomas before the game. He said he had a lot of question marks. He thought that they could be a decent football team. And I tell you what, he's proved tonight, to me at least, Lonnie, that he's got enough weapons to be competitive. And you may be looking at a team here that may be playing in the Superdome come December. I mean, I think they're that good.
Well, you could be looking at two teams that could be playing.
Well, very possible. Yeah,
very possible.
I've never looked at the bracket. Of course, it's early to look at brackets. These two teams could very well meet in the playoffs before they go to the Superdome.
Of course, last year Baker in the first round of the playoffs defeated John Eyre at 42-14, and then lost to Neville in the second round, 21-13. So, you know, same Neville team that Thibodaux had to beat in overtime in the Superdome.
Oh, they've been there before, Lonnie. They've never been to the big dance yet. But you know, when you got a kid like Chris Beverly and the Mark Brown kid, who's you got to be impressed with him, Lonnie, for his first game as a varsity player. He's put on quite a show. He's done a good job running the offense and made some good decisions. So he looks like he's the guy they were looking for.
Of course, again, being led by quarterback Brown, a transfer from Central, starting his first game for Baker High School. Tremaine Johnson down to about the 38-yard line, and Thibodaux High will have a little less than a minute to go here to maybe put some more points on the board. They're down by 20, 35-15. Of course, at the end of the first quarter, they were down by 21. Thibodaux pretty much owned the second and third quarters, but it still was not enough because the first and fourth have very much belonged to Baker.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Lonnie, Thibodaux High has made some mistakes, and there's some mistakes that could be corrected. Missed tackles is a nightmare of any defensive coach, and believe me, when they check the films, I guarantee you they'll wind up with 30 missed tackles. I think, like last week when we saw Northeastern Nichols, I think Nichols wound up with something like 37 missed tackles. You can't miss tackles like that against good competition.
Terrence Hill's pass incomplete, intended out there on the right side for Yancey Benoit. And tonight, Jamie Rodrigue is 6 of 12 for 58 yards, and Terrence Hills is 5 of 12 for 72. So the two quarterback stats are just about even for Thibodaux High. But the story undoubtedly, Chris Beverly, 24 carries for 281 yards rushing for Baker unofficially. So if you see in the paper he's got 290 or 270 or whatever, again, I'm somewhere in the ballpark, I can tell you. Trust me, it's near 300. 50 seconds left. Thibodaux would like to get another one on the board if possible. Terrence Hills gone for the money. Oh, Eric Alamo. What a job by little Eric out there. He almost pulled it in.
Defensive back for Baker High School does a no-no. In that situation, you've got to make sure that you either catch the football, intercept it, or knock it down when nobody else can catch it. Could have very easily go from making a good play right there to being a touchdown for Thibodaux High School. And it looks like Eric Alamo may have cramps.
Yeah, in fact, they're already sending out about 4 players to help carry him off because they figure that's what they're going to need to do. And you get so used to this, and this is a game now that has lasted, quite a long time, 2 hours and 40 minutes, somewhere around there. But, that'll happen. You usually don't see high school games go this long, but it does happen early in the season because you have so many stops because of injuries and cramps. And in fact, I think there is another new rule change, I believe, about the starting of the clock that probably a lot of people say would probably extend the game a little bit. I think, or maybe they did it last year, something about, I know I read it a couple weeks ago, something about the starting of the clock after a punt return or something like that. Why don't we do this while we have the injury on the field? We'll go ahead and take another break. Again, 43 seconds to go in the game. And our score is Baker 35, Thibodaux 15. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. And welcome back to Tiger Stadium. Lonnie Thibodaux along with Don Schwab and defensive back Eric Alamo and receiver Eric Alamo. Perhaps re-injured his ankle, which I understand he did injure earlier in the week in drills at practice. And, of course, he's probably a very tired young man. He's seen action on both sides of the ball in special teams tonight. Thibodaux High trailing 35-15, what could be their first home loss in 4 seasons. Terrence Hill's looking for Fred Billazon, and went right through his hands. They'll play 4th down with 39 seconds left. And, Coach, let's kind of look at what Thibodaux needs to do now to regroup from this loss. Big game next week that probably will be our game of the week. Again, Thibodaux having to travel to Terrebonne. And Terrebonne, a lot of team speed, not as big, obviously, as Baker, but, again, another tough test for the Tigers after this loss.
Strictly because of the fact what you said, Lonnie, team speed. Thibodaux, we talked about their team speed in pregame. Hillary mentioned the fact that they don't have the team speed that they had last year. And anytime you play against a team like Terrebonne that's got outstanding team speed, you always think about the big play.
And a big play has killed Thibodaux tonight. Oh, Rodrigue had 3 big guys in his face. He manages to get the pass out to Long, and he'll gain no yards on the reception. So with 28 seconds left, that'll pretty much wrap things up for Thibodaux. And on the stop was Chucky Grimes.
It's like I said, Lonnie, Thibodaux everything they did tonight is correctable. One is the turnovers. You feel as though that the more you play them, and again with the quarterback situation, with Hill and Rodrigue not having many snaps, you're going to have some center quarterback exchange fumble snaps. Okay, that's something that can be corrected. Another thing is the missed tackles. That's something that could be corrected. So that's 2 things right there that could be corrected, and is going to make them a much better football team. Plus the fact of getting these young kids, especially the quarterback position, as well as, which you know very well is a very, very extremely hard position to play on this level.
You're right. 28 seconds left. I assume they'll just take a knee. Nope. They'll go ahead and pitch it out to Chucky Grimes, who will maybe get a yard or 2, and that'll be about it. And they'll maybe have to run one more play. Well, probably not. They'll probably be able to pack it in from this point. Like you were joking with Brad Villabasso at halftime, saying, "Okay, who's the tackling coach?"
Yeah, I was just acting pro bad. He feels bad because he coaches the linebackers. He's on that side of football, and I tell you what, it's embarrassing. And believe me, I know Brad's makeup, and I know the makeup of this staff. It will be corrected, Lonnie.
All right, our final score. We'll go ahead and take one more break, and then we'll come back to wrap it up from Tiger Stadium tonight. Thibodaux High dropping this decision to Baker, 35-15. We'll be back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week.
One set of doors was the color of honey.
And welcome back to the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week. I'm Lonnie Thibodaux along with Don Schwab. You see the traditional end-of-game handshaking or high-fiving, as it will. And again, our final score, you can see it on the screen. The Baker Buffaloes taking the victory over the Thibodaux Tigers 35-15. And Coach, I'm just kind of briefly, unofficially jotting down the stats. Thibodaux rushed for about 120 yards, passed for 130, about 250 total yards for Baker. They rushed for 300, about 280 of that from Chris Beverly, 94 passing, 394. So again, the stats kind of reflect the score, more or less. But I tell you what, you throw out the big, I mean, big doesn't come close, the huge first quarter of Baker, this is a game that Thibodaux probably would have won.
It'd have been right in the hunt, Lonnie, but that's why you play the game between the stripes, and that's why turnovers plays a big part in the outcome of a football game, and especially in an early situation the way Thibodaux High got caught tonight. But again, I'm going to repeat myself. These mistakes can be corrected, and believe me, I think we'll see an entirely different football team next week if we do the Thibodaux High Terrebonne game. Yeah,
and again, we'll know that about that earlier in the week. So we will see. That certainly will be a great game if we're able to go ahead and work out the arrangements for that. Real quickly, a scoring recap of the first quarter. A 54-yard pass from Mark Brown to Ivory Leachman made it 7-0. For Baker, they came right back with a 1-yard run by Brown to make it 14-0. That was on a 4th and goal, too. And then the first quarter ended with a 92-yard incredible run by Chris Beverly, made it 21-0 after 1 quarter. In the second quarter, Thibodaux bounced back. Terrence Hills to Eric Alamo on a 4th down. 15-yard pass, 21-7. In the third quarter, Tremaine Johnson got an 11-yard touchdown pass. They got the 2-point conversion. Now Thibodaux was only trailing 21-15, but could not capitalize beyond that point. Beverly came back at the end of the quarter with another 2-yard touchdown run. Baker led 28-15 then, and then Beverly again with another long run, 67 yards for a touchdown with 58 seconds to go in the game, made it 35-15. So really the game was a little bit closer than the score would indicate. Beverly unofficially 24 carries for 281 yards tonight. And Coach, even on that long run at the very end of the game, he did not appear to be tired, and he is a young man we'll have to watch the rest of the year.
Oh, I'm telling you, people got to remember this kid's name, Chris Beverly. I think he's going to be highly recruited. He put on a show tonight, and like you said, the longer the game went, it looks like the better he played. I'd like to congratulate Larry Thomas and his staff at Baker High School and their well-coached outfit, their class act. They'll be a team to be reckoned with, I'm sure, in the future, and wish them the very, very best in the future.
All right, we certainly want to thank you for joining us tonight. We want to thank our crew that worked very hard tonight. Richard Schmidt and Debbie Troskley on the truck, camera people, Scott Fields, Bryson Graham, and David Summerall on the sideline. We want to thank Martin False and Hillary Domang down on the sideline, too. Our Eagle Eye spotter, Gene Gano, who batted 1,000 again tonight. Unbelievable. What a record. And certainly we want to thank the living legend, the galloping ghost, Don Schwab, on color tonight. And I'm only saying that because he already took off his headsets and he won't retaliate with anything verbally against me. I'm Lonnie Thibodaux, and we'll see you again next week on the HTV Radio Phone Game of the Week.